Jennifer stretched her tired legs and flexed her fingers. 16 hours into her shift, and the maternity ward was still as unpredictable as ever. Maybe no one would be brought in. If the woman from the 5th room gives birth, then she could relax, filling out medical forms. Perhaps she could even steal a short nap. Or perhaps several women would arrive at once, and Jennifer would have to dash between rooms, forgetting about sleep and rest. Yet amidst the chaos, Jennifer still loved her days. It was gratifying to feel like she was doing something truly important, welcoming people into this world. Yes, they wouldn't remember her face, but she remembered them all. Jennifer had overseen over 100 births, effortlessly recalling details about each child: the mother's name, the weight, the APGAR score at 1 and 5 minutes. She might forget her own schedule, her friend's birthday, or to buy bread on her way home. But every baby she held in her arms stayed with her. It was remarkable, perhaps, that her calling was to be a midwife. And why not? Her mother was a midwife, and so was her grandmother and great-grandmother, delivering babies in a remote village. Yet it seemed that Jennifer's line might end with her. She wouldn't have a daughter who, after school, would decide to pursue medicine. Jennifer closed her eyes. She didn't want to dwell on the sadness. The weather was so nice, and Christmas was just around the corner. She would visit her mom, buy her favorite cake, and they would sit together in the kitchen, talking until late into the night. And for a moment, Jennifer would feel like a little girl again. It's a shame they don't get to see each other often. Both Jennifer and her mom have hectic schedules. Jennifer works a lot, has to pay off the mortgage, and Jennifer's mom teaches obstetrics and gynecology at the medical college. She quit her job at the maternity ward 3 years ago. Her health couldn't handle the responsibilities. Jennifer's heart just broke for her mom. She cried so much back then, saying goodbye to her beloved work. She herself dreaded the moment when she would have to leave medicine. She couldn't imagine herself anywhere else. Since early childhood, she knew what she would be. At 7, she attended her first delivery. Of course, it was a cat's delivery, under her mom's careful guidance. And Jennifer would always remember the feeling of wonder at the arrival of new life. Because there's nothing like it. It's like a door opening to another world, where you can see the invisible warm light that fills this world to the brim. Jennifer shook her head. Yeah, some silly thoughts are creeping into my head. Invisible light. Imagine that. She stretched, rubbed her lower back, and began to ponder. What could she do? Maybe paperwork. She's always scolded for not dedicating enough time and attention to it. William, the head of the department, often repeats, "Your work is evaluated based on paperwork. No one cares what the mother thinks. Can you calm her down? Get her in the right mindset. Ensure the delivery goes smoothly, without any complications, no tearing. No one will applaud how skillfully you untangled the umbilical cord from the baby's neck to prevent asphyxiation. Paperwork. That's what they check first." She got up from the couch, sat down at the table, and sadly looked at the stack of medical charts. Each one needed something written, something pasted, checked if everything was in place. She sighed and picked up the first chart. Maybe if she tried hard, she could finish them all today. If no one was brought in, of course, but relying on such luck wasn't wise. Jennifer, like many healthcare workers, was superstitious that if she geared up for a calm shift, something would inevitably happen. Jennifer, the door to the office opened, and Jennifer saw Phyllis, the orderly. Phyllis had been working in this maternity ward seemingly since its opening. Jennifer loved working with her during shifts. Phyllis was energetic beyond her years, skilled at calming frightened mothers-to-be, and carried out her work so seamlessly and proficiently that the department seemed to shine with cleanliness without her even being involved. "Yeah." Jennifer smiled. "Jennifer, Dr. William is calling for you," Phyllis said. "I met him in the corridor. He's asking you to come in." "Why?" Jennifer asked. "Who knows?" Phyllis shrugged. "He looked grumpy." "Probably. Gladys complained about you again. Jennifer grimaced. Gladys was the second midwife on duty. For some reason, she had taken an instant dislike to Jennifer as soon as she joined the department. Gladys was a strict 40-year-old woman, with a taut demeanor and a perpetually dissatisfied expression. The laboring mothers were a little afraid of her. Gladys could shout, scare them. Jennifer avoided such methods. She believed that frightening women in labor was wrong. Adrenaline only interfered. On the contrary, it was necessary to relax, reassure them that everything would be fine, and prepare them for an easy delivery. They sometimes argued about this with Gladys. Gladys just snorted and said that Jennifer's methods only harmed the cause. In the past, maternity wards had order, Gladys repeated. Women were afraid. Midwives had more authority. They respected them. And now, at the slightest thing, complaints, complaints, complaints. And you indulge them. Massages, self-hypnosis, breathing. Nobody needs all this. We're a maternity ward, not a spa salon. Jennifer quickly realized that arguing with Gladys was pointless. And now she just tried to avoid her. She even asked to have their shifts scheduled on different days. But this time it didn't work out, and Gladys had already found something to complain about to the bosses. Well, it doesn't seem like there's anything to complain about, Jennifer sighed. There was just one delivery. The woman was already taken away, and then I cleaned everything up myself. Well, Gladys doesn't like you, Phyllis chuckled. She'll find something to nitpick about. Maybe you looked at her the wrong way. Be careful with her. I'm already being careful, Jennifer said wistfully, looking at the documents lying on the table. I just wanted to get some work done. Go on, Phyllis waved her hand. They'll scold you, and then come to me. We'll have some tea. God willing. No one will be brought in for delivery today. Jennifer wasn't afraid of Dr. William at all. He was the kindest person. No one had ever heard him raise his voice. Even his appearance was somewhat soft, round, with thinning hair always combed from left to right to cover the emerging bald spot. He treated Jennifer fairly well, but she still felt uneasy. She approached the office and timidly knocked. Come in, William said. Jennifer entered and stood in the center of the rug, hands behind her back, eyes lowered. You called for me. I did, William replied. Sit down. I'm going to scold you. Jennifer sank into the chair. And will you scold me severely? Very much so. William took off his glasses and carefully placed them on the table. Jennifer, it's been said that you're not showing proper respect towards patients. Is that true? Jennifer looked surprised at her boss. Me? I don't think so. There was just one delivery today. Everything went well. The baby is healthy, and the patient is fine. I was informed that during labor, you were telling jokes. Well, yes, that happened, Jennifer admitted. The woman asked if we had a shot to stop the delivery, so she could go home for another month. She was very anxious. So, I decided to lighten the mood. William looked intently at Jennifer. In general, as your superior, I demand that you refrain from telling jokes in the workplace, at least when Gladys is in the ward. Understood? Yes, understood. Jennifer chuckled. And I have one more small request for you. Yes, I'm listening. Yesterday, a woman gave birth here. William sighed. She wants to give up the child. Jennifer, could you talk to her? Her mood soured. Jennifer couldn't understand women who would abandon their babies. How could they? It's your child, your flesh and blood. A little vulnerable bundle. How could you go home and leave them all alone? In all the years she had worked here, there were only 3 such cases. She managed to convince the first 2 women to change their minds. Jennifer talked with both of them for several hours. One new mother had parted ways with the baby's father and wanted to get rid of any reminders of him. Jennifer immediately understood that she didn't actually want to leave the baby. She just found it too difficult to cope with the breakup. The second case was more complicated. The woman already had 2 children and feared that she and her husband wouldn't be able to handle a third. She wanted him to grow up in a wealthy family. And in the end, she also took the baby with her. Later, she called Jennifer and enthusiastically told her that shortly after her return from the maternity ward, her husband found a new job and now earns twice as much as before. She thanked Jennifer for not allowing her to make this terrible mistake. But the third woman never came to take the baby. She was only 16. An early, unplanned pregnancy. Fortunately, her aunt took the boy in to raise him. You could say everything turned out well. For some reason, William believed that Jennifer was the best negotiator. A diplomat capable of persuading a woman that abandoning her child was the worst choice she could make. If only he knew why Jennifer earnestly pleaded for the baby to be taken, and how painful it was for her to see abandoned children. Maybe in that case, he wouldn't have chosen her specifically. But Jennifer preferred not to discuss personal matters with her boss. She herself would like to forget that story. 5 years had passed already. It was time to let all wounds heal. Or were there wounds that were never meant to heal? Just a thought. Her daughter could have been 4 years old by now. Jennifer closed her eyes for a moment to hold back tears. Yes, I can talk to her, she said calmly. Thank you, Jennifer. William smiled. I've tried, but she doesn't even want to listen to me. Says she'll leave the baby here. It's decided. And the lady is wealthy, healthy. What's going on with her? Is she in postpartum? Jennifer clarified. Yes. She wants to leave tomorrow. So go talk to her today, William said. On her way, Jennifer ran into Gladys. She pretended not to notice Jennifer. And Jennifer drank tea, sat for a while, looking out the window. She didn't want to talk to the woman who intended to sign away her baby. Lord, how difficult it was. Why do some give birth and abandon their children while others dream of a baby and can't conceive? Or worse, lose their children. What could be more terrifying? The death of parents is horrible, but it's nature's way. Children are supposed to outlive their parents. But losing a child, that shouldn't happen. And Jennifer knew that perfectly well. She lost her daughter herself. And with her, the ability to become a mother in the future. Once upon a time, Jennifer dreamed of a big family. Her mother had 3 sisters. They all scattered to different cities, and all worked as midwives. Her mother often told Jennifer about their upbringing, how they gathered around the table in the evenings to tell each other about their day, how they celebrated birthdays. There wasn't much money in their family, but it was compensated with love, warmth, and mutual support. Jennifer's mother, Delilah, only gave birth to 1 child. That's how it turned out. She couldn't get pregnant for a long time, but she became a mother at the age of 40. Jennifer didn't know her father. At first, her mother lied to her, saying that her dad was a captain on a long voyage. And when Jennifer turned 13, Delilah confessed that she just met a man on vacation, where she went specifically to find a suitable father for her future child. Jennifer was shocked by this news. She didn't even talk to her mom for a few days. She was upset that she had lied to her. But then Jennifer forgave her mother. After all, she gave her life, and how she did it was her own business. Maybe there just weren't any other options. It was only with the years that Jennifer realized she was right. Delilah worked a lot. She simply didn't have time to meet men. And her age. Few would agree to marry a 40-year-old woman, except perhaps some pensioner or widower. And it was far from certain that such a man would want to become a father. Delilah adored her daughter, gave her everything she could. As Jennifer grew up, she dreamed of giving her mother at least 2 grandchildren. And she herself wanted to have many children. Right after graduation, Jennifer met Vic, her future husband. They met at a friend's birthday party. Vic came with his former classmate. Jennifer immediately noticed him. He was a handsome, tall blonde, a bit shy and quiet. Nevertheless, they started talking and found out they had a lot in common. They both loved reading, enjoyed historical movies, and long walks around the city. Vic was already 27, 5 years older than Jennifer. The age difference seemed perfect to her. Besides, he had a good job. He worked as a manager in a large fuel company. A green light lit up inside Jennifer. It was time. Vic was the perfect husband candidate and a father figure for her future children. That evening, they exchanged phone numbers. Vic called the next day. They went to the movies. After the movie, he walked her home and suddenly confessed that he really liked her. Jennifer was on cloud 9. Could he be the one? But could it be that easy? It felt like she had known this person her whole life. But why should it be difficult? Perhaps movies and books were to blame. There, the heroes always faced countless obstacles on their way to happiness, which they heroically overcame to be together. Jennifer quickly realized she was in love with Vic, and he hinted that he wouldn't mind starting a family, considering her the perfect candidate for a wife. The only thing that bothered her was that he still lived with his mother, and Vic didn't plan to move out from her then. Once, Jennifer tried to start a conversation about the future and asked where he would live when they got married. There, he was surprised. "We have a great 3-bedroom apartment with your mom?" she asked. "Yeah, why not?" He glanced at Jennifer and frowned. "What's wrong with that? I believe my wife should get along with my mom. If she doesn't like her, then what's the point of having such a wife?" The girl thought for a moment and agreed then. After all, Vic was right about something. There can be many women in a man's life, but only one mother. And what's the point of buying or renting an apartment when there is already a spacious, comfortable one? Vic's mother, Helena, didn't like Jennifer. She was convinced that her son deserved better. And Jennifer, she was just a midwife, without her own apartment and without a wealthy dowry. Of course, Helena didn't say it out loud, but Jennifer understood everything from her eyes. From the hints, Jennifer felt silly, absurd, and unattractive. After all, there wasn't much for her to boast about. She had almost no education. Sometimes she dreamed of going to university, but she realized that she would hardly manage both work and studies. Housing. She lived with her mom in a small 1-bedroom apartment in the residential area of the city. Appearance. Jennifer's appearance left much to be desired. She was short, with short legs. People considered her pretty, but nothing more. Just average. Helena, like all mothers, believed her son deserved the most beautiful wife in the world. Apparently, she saw the romance with Jennifer as a fling, hoping that soon her son would come to his senses and find a bride worthy of him. But Vic had no intention of changing his mind. It seemed he genuinely loved Jennifer and planned to marry her. 6 months after they met, Vic proposed to Jennifer. She said yes. Maybe the issue with Helena would resolve itself. After all, she would get used to it eventually. It was her son's choice, and Jennifer believed she would make Vic happy. They had a modest wedding, just a couple dozen guests. Helena was the only one dissatisfied. She kept saying she wished her son had a more luxurious wedding, with a fancy restaurant, limousines, a top-notch photographer, and loads of guests. And apparently, she blamed Jennifer for the wedding not turning out as she had dreamed. Delilah didn't like Helena from the start. She warned her daughter to be careful with her mother-in-law. "Maybe you should rent an apartment," Jennifer's mom asked. "I feel like this lady will cause you trouble. She looks at you like you're a flea." "Mom, come on. Really?" Jennifer laughed then. "She's not as bad as you think. She just really loves her son." "I understand," Delilah sighed. "But that love can play a nasty trick. Remember my words." And alas, Mom wasn't wrong. For the wedding, Helena gave the bride a small silver pendant in the shape of a heart with a big scratch on it. Jennifer briefly thought that Helena had personally made that scratch, trying to hint at something unpleasant. But the bride didn't attach any significance to it at the time. Jennifer was happy. She became Vic's wife. They would have children, a strong family, and Helena would eventually accept the daughter-in-law and, perhaps, even come to love her. But Vic's mother wasn't quick to love Jennifer. On the contrary, it seemed she hated her more and more. When Helena's friends came over, she didn't hesitate to tell them in front of Jennifer how annoyed she was with her future daughter-in-law. Remember Kira? Such a girl she was. Higher education, a lawyer, a beauty. Helen, you can't force yourself to love someone. Her friends argued, because one should think with the head on their shoulders. Helena replied, and there was also Katie. They dated for so long. I hoped Vic would marry her. And what happened in the end? Girls, he found Jennifer, not a beauty. And what does she do for a living? Where does she spend her days? After such conversations, Jennifer would cry for a long time. Vic would comfort her, saying she was imagining things. In reality, his mother liked her. She just had a habit of saying whatever came to her mind. Well, there was Kira, and Katie was also in the past. Vic assured his wife, Jennifer, I love you, and no one else, just you. Jennifer tried to be the perfect daughter-in-law. She cleaned the apartment until it sparkled, cooked 3-course dinners that Helena carefully ignored. She bought gifts for her mother-in-law, but she would just stash them away on a distant shelf in the cupboard. Jennifer was especially hurt by Helena's attitude towards the food she cooked. Jennifer spent every weekend at the stove, preparing delicacies, while Helena demonstratively made sandwiches, not even touching her future daughter-in-law's dishes. Vic seemed to take everything in stride, repeating that his mom would definitely get used to Jennifer and grow to love her. And Jennifer waited with each passing day, losing hope that the miracle would eventually happen. One day, Jennifer had to leave work early because she had a terrible headache. Even the injection given by her colleague didn't help. Jennifer's vision darkened from the pain, and she felt like she was about to lose consciousness. The department head sent her home, advising her to rest. By 4 o'clock, Jennifer was at home. There, she found Helena, her husband, and some girl. The girl was incredibly beautiful. A tall blonde with neat makeup, dressed in a tight white dress. All 3 of them were sitting in the kitchen, drinking tea. Why are you home so early? Helena blurted out when Jennifer entered the kitchen. Well, I left early because of a headache, Jennifer grumbled. I invited Katie over. She's an old acquaintance of ours. Helena smiled. We wanted to have tea together. I missed her so much. And Vic missed her too, didn't you, dear? Vic, apparently unaware that something was wrong, nodded. Yes, we haven't seen each other in a while. Mom asked me to come home from work early, so here I am, he said. Understood, Jennifer sighed. If she hadn't had a headache, she might have taken the cup standing in front of Katie and thrown it against the wall. You go lie down, Jennifer. Her mother-in-law squinted. If your head hurts, why stand? Or maybe you got fired from your job. Helena laughed at her own joke. Katie chuckled too. Vic nodded. Yes, dear, go lie down. Maybe I can make you some tea. I can bring it to you, Vic offered. No, thanks. I'll just sleep, Jennifer replied. She collapsed onto the bed in the room and burst into tears. Didn't Vic understand what was going on? His mother just wanted to set him up with a more suitable girl. And Vic could have supported his wife. But no, he preferred Katie's company. And Katie was really something. Helena's feelings could even be understood. After such a beauty, her son brought home some midwife like Jennifer. Vic came in a couple of hours later, seeing Katie off to the bus stop. Jennifer, how are you? He sat down beside his wife, stroking her head. The young woman moved away from him and turned to face the wall. Well, Jennifer, what happened? Something at work. Vic, are you really that naive? She muttered. What's the matter? Please explain, he exclaimed. Jennifer wiped her wet eyes with her palm and looked at her husband. Do you often sit and have tea like this? No, Jennifer. Mom just called. But I couldn't refuse. He shrugged. And I haven't seen Katie in ages. Are you jealous? We broke up with her ages ago. Haven't even talked since then. Vic, who else did she invite? Jennifer asked. Well, Once there was her friend's daughter. You don't know her. Her name's Natalie, Vic replied. Florence dropped by. Mom promised her some book. Jennifer sat up and looked her husband in the eye. Listen, Vic, your mother is trying to find you another wife. Don't you understand that? Oh, come on. Don't make things up. The man laughed. She's happy with everything. Why would she do that, Jennifer? Because your mother doesn't like me, she replied. And she'll keep doing this until we divorce. Vic paused for a moment. Oh, come on. That can't be. It can. Vic. Jennifer took his hand and looked at him plaintively. Let's move, please. Let's live together. Just the two of us. Are you serious? What about Mom being alone? Vic panicked. She always said we'd live together, even when I get married. She's completely alone, Jennifer. She raised me without a husband. I mean, without a father. She has no one else. Darling, I'm not suggesting we move to another country or another city. Jennifer patiently explained. We can live on the next street. But just the two of us, without her. You understand? We're a family now, and we should live separately. Your mom is still a young woman. She can remarry and be happy again. Understand? I'll think about it. Vic replied, slightly offended. I didn't realize you disliked my mom so much, Jennifer. I don't dislike her, Jennifer lied. She just doesn't really understand or accept me. It'll take time. Vic, let's live separately. Just give it a try. Please, for me. Okay. 2 weeks later, the couple moved into a rental apartment. Of course, Helena threw a fit. She cried, demanded tranquilizers, and called an ambulance. Vic almost gave in to his mother, but Jennifer assured him that everything would be fine. Besides, they were going to live just 10 minutes away from Helena's house. Jennifer celebrated her victory. She felt much calmer now. No more Katie, Kara, or Natalie. And she wouldn't have to waste her nerves dealing with her perpetually dissatisfied mother-in-law. Soon Jennifer became pregnant. Apparently, the lack of stress played a role. She asked Vic not to tell his mother anything, but he couldn't resist. And when Jennifer was home alone, catching up on sleep after her shift, Helena came over. Vic had given her the key, so his mother entered without knocking or ringing. Jennifer woke up to someone shaking her shoulder. She screamed in surprise, nearly hitting her head against the unexpected guest. Careful. What are you doing? Exclaimed Helena. What are you doing here? Jennifer blurted out. You should warn before coming. Actually, this is my son's apartment, and I can come here whenever I want. You know. Helena sank into the chair and stared at Jennifer with disdain. My son gave me the key, so he doesn't mind me being here. Jennifer ran her hand through her tousled hair and said, but I live here too. You don't pay rent with your measly salary. Helena smirked. So don't object. Start earning at least as much as Vic does. Then we'll talk. Did you want something? Jennifer asked. She needed to calm down. She couldn't show that she was furious about her mother-in-law's visit. Otherwise, Helena would complain to Vic. Lately, Helena began feigning heart problems. She calls Vic in the evenings, and he heads to his mother's instead of going home from work. And he truly believed his mother was unwell. Jennifer examined her medical documents and realized that Helena's health was enviable. But when Jennifer suggested she undergo some tests, Helena vehemently refused. Of course, why would she risk receiving the scary diagnosis of perfectly healthy? That would strip Helena of any chance to manipulate her son. I wanted to talk about your pregnancy. My son told me you're expecting a baby. It was to be expected. The lower a woman's level of education, the more she desires to reproduce. Like a stray cat. Helena remarked dryly. Well, you'll soon have a grandchild. Jennifer nodded. Isn't that wonderful? Nothing good about it. Helena replied dryly. Who needs this child? Vic is still too young, and he should be thinking about his career, not diapers. Can you even imagine what it took for me to put him through university? He needs to work, to earn. But how will he work if he doesn't get enough sleep? Tell me, I'll take care of the baby myself," Jennifer promised. "Vic won't have to get up at night, and I would advise you to consider an abortion," Helena said. "Then you can give birth later. You're still young. Give Vic the chance to achieve everything he dreams of. Listen, don't talk nonsense. He doesn't object to the baby. We made this decision together," the young woman replied. "He doesn't understand what he's getting himself into." Helena shook her head. "His father, by the way, ran away from me when Vic was just 2 months old. He couldn't handle it. He realized he wasn't ready. Don't you think my son might do the same?" "Wait a minute, Helena. Let's be clear." Jennifer clenched her fists under the blanket. "If Vic leaves, you'd be delighted. And if he stays, you'll have a grandchild." Crystal clear. The guest stood up and looked down at Jennifer. "You want to tie him to your stomach permanently? We'll see how that goes. I'll definitely talk to my son, and he'll make the right decision. Hopefully, you'll finally start using your head and think with your brain, not with what you're used to." The woman left the room. When the door slammed shut behind Helena, Jennifer began pounding the pillow with a growl. This was insane. What would happen next? Would Helena try to forbid her from giving birth? And then what? Would she not even be allowed to breathe? Who did this woman think she was? Jennifer decided not to tell Vic about her mother-in-law's visit. But apparently, she must have disclosed everything herself, embellishing details that weren't true. Vic scolded his wife for being rude to his mother and almost kicking her out of the house. Jennifer tried to argue, but her husband sided with Helena, and then she suddenly realized that she would always be the third wheel in their family. There were 2 of them, mother and son, and she was the unnecessary element, and the baby would probably be just as superfluous. But Jennifer forcefully pushed this thought away. She needed to calmly carry the pregnancy and give birth to the baby. Vic couldn't possibly fail to understand that they were also his family, just like his mother. Soon Jennifer learned that she was expecting a girl. She was happy. She even came up with the name Daisy. This name seemed to her the most beautiful in the world. She talked to the little one, caressed belly, sang songs to her. But Vic seemed to distance himself from his wife. He stayed late at work, spent a lot of time with friends, and often came home drunk. And that worried Jennifer. He bought a car and often got behind the wheel after a couple of glasses of wine. Luckily, he drove slowly, so he never got into an accident. But Jennifer feared it was only a matter of time. Yet Vic didn't want to listen to her. "I'm not losing control of myself," he grumbled. "If I feel like I've had too much, I'll call a taxi. I'm not a little boy. I understand everything perfectly." Jennifer felt terribly alone. She didn't want to tell her mother about her family problems. Why bother her? Jennifer didn't have any friends. Vic seemed like a stranger to her. The young woman decided she would wait for her daughter. And then whatever happens, happens. Even if Vic decides to leave for Katie or Rita, Jennifer will accept the news calmly because she will have her little one, her continuation, her little copy, and her friend. The pregnancy was progressing well. Jennifer experienced some morning sickness, but it quickly passed. She was full of energy and vitality. She set up a little corner for her daughter, bought a dresser and a crib. Often after work, she would visit baby stores and admire the tiny clothes and little hats, imagining how she would dress her daughter in those adorable outfits. And then came the event that divided Jennifer's life into before and after. Helena invited her friend to a Jubilee celebration. Vic and Jennifer were also on the guest list. Jennifer didn't want to go. She would have preferred to stay at home, read something, or watch a movie. But her husband insisted that Jennifer come with him. She agreed. She was already in her 7th month and couldn't fit into any dress, so she had to buy a new one, a blue one with a high waist and puffy sleeves. Jennifer didn't like herself in this dress. She felt like a stranded whale on the shore. But she couldn't find a cheaper option. They arrived at the restaurant where the Jubilee was being celebrated. When Helena saw her daughter-in-law, she muttered, "You should watch your weight." You're a medic. How much have you gained? Within the normal range, Jennifer replied with a smile. Your noms seem a bit strange. Helena squinted, and then she smiled and loudly exclaimed, Son, how glad I am to see you. You completely forgot about your mother. You only spend time with your wife. Jennifer felt like she had been plunged into cold water. Of course, she had to demonstrate to her friends that the daughter-in-law had taken her son away from his mother. In reality, Vic often visited his mom. Jennifer desperately wanted to go home, but she patiently waited for the evening to end. Vic had one too many drinks. When he poured himself another glass of wine, Jennifer cautiously placed her hand on his arm. Darling, maybe that's enough. I'm not drunk. He snapped. You better watch yourself. Jennifer didn't argue. It was his business. He wasn't a little boy anymore. The main thing was for him not to get behind the wheel. They would just take a taxi home. Of course, it was a pity to spend the money, but there was nothing else to do. They couldn't risk their lives. Finally, the guests began to disperse. I'll call a taxi, Jennifer suggested. No, let's go by car, Vic replied, swaying slightly. Everything's fine. Are you out of your mind, Vic? You won't make it. Helena approached them. Why are you yelling here? You're embarrassing me. Jennifer hoped that Helena would take her side for the first time in her life. You see, Vic had a little to drink. He shouldn't get behind the wheel. Listen, he's fine. My son is not an alcoholic. Right, son? You're okay, aren't you? Of course, I'm fine, Vic declared. Jennifer just made something up about me. As you wish. I'll call a taxi, Jennifer stated. It's already late. Are you crazy? Helena grabbed the bride's hand. You'll go with your husband. Make sure everything is okay. And Jennifer agreed. She just didn't want a scandal. Jennifer nodded and looked at Vic with his vacant eyes, a smile wandering across his face, and decided that as soon as Daisy was born, she would file for divorce and move back to her mother's. They would raise their daughter together. Anything was better than enduring Vic and his crazy mother. At that moment, Jennifer thought that she was agreeing with Helena and her husband for the last time. They stepped outside. The fog had completely cleared, and the golden moon and radiant stars shone brightly in the blue evening sky. They drove along the empty road. Snow was falling. Jennifer looked out the window. Vic hummed something to himself. The radio was playing. Songs followed one another. A woman softly sang about the banks of a river and lost love. Jennifer relaxed and drifted off to sleep. And then the world turned upside down. The car skidded to the side. Vic was shouting something. Jennifer clung to her seatbelt as if it could somehow help. Then, a strong impact. Darkness followed. Later, in the hospital, Jennifer was told that Vic accidentally veered into oncoming traffic. She didn't even notice how it happened. When another car appeared in front of him, he sharply turned the wheel and veered off the road, crashing into a pole. But Jennifer didn't remember any of it. And she didn't even try to remember, because when she came to, she discovered that her belly was gone. Daisy was gone. She lost her baby. Helena came to the hospital, yelling at her for not watching the road, even though Vic was driving. You don't understand that my son could have died because of you. Ha, listen. My daughter died. I almost died. This is entirely Vic's fault, Jennifer quietly replied. Don't you care about any of this? You were supposed to watch. You were supposed to. Delilah, who had come on time, was kicked out of the room by Helena. That's when Jennifer told her mother everything. About her marriage, her relationship with her mother-in-law, about Vic's behavior. Jennifer cried, clinging to her mother, while she stroked her head and repeated, poor my girl. Why didn't you speak up? You know I'm always here for you, no matter what. Vic survived. He suffered a traumatic brain injury, underwent surgery, but his health was no longer in danger. After leaving the hospital, he went to his mother's. He didn't even bother talking to Jennifer. Apparently, Helena managed to convince her son that it was Jennifer's fault. The young woman filed for divorce and returned to her mother. Disappointed, broken, crushed by grief. Her sorrow was twofold. No, she wasn't upset about the divorce, but she lost her daughter, whom she had already come to love with all her heart. And the doctors also told Jennifer that she would never have children again. Well, calm down. You can always adopt a child. The doctor comforted her. You will be a wonderful mother. And Jennifer nodded apathetically. There was only one thought in her mind. No, she would never have children again. No adoption. Jennifer would never be able to love anyone as she would have loved her own daughter. It took Jennifer almost a year to pull herself together, but she managed to do it. She took control of her life, focused on her health. She left her previous job, where they knew about what happened, and found a position at another hospital. Life gradually improved. Jennifer even took out a mortgage for a small apartment. It was tiny, but it was hers. She enjoyed living with her mother, but still, the young woman came to love the solitude. It was calmer that way, and she also promised herself that there would be no more men in her life. Vic once seemed perfect to her. And how did it all end? With a broken heart. Disappointment. No, it's better this way. Alone. Jennifer didn't want to take any more risks. It seemed like she had almost forgotten what happened. Nightmares no longer haunted her. Jennifer stopped thinking about what her daughter would be like now after a few years. But every time someone at the maternity ward wanted to give up their baby, the old pain returned to her. Not as strong as before, but still very painful. Jennifer made her way to the postnatal ward. The woman who planned to give up her baby was named Penelope. She had just turned 36. Jennifer had managed to read her chart and knew the reason for the refusal. The baby was born with a cleft lip. Most likely, that's the reason. Did Penelope not understand that this condition can be treated now? Just a simple operation, and no one would even notice a scar on the girl's face. Jennifer went up to the postnatal ward and asked where Penelope was lying. The nurse on duty wrinkled her nose. "Oh, that one," she said. "She's a handful. Everything's not to her liking. She doesn't like the food, thinks we're not giving her injections right, threatens to write a complaint." Well, it seemed like Jennifer was in for a tough conversation. "So, what do you need her for?" the nurse asked. "Oh, you know, I need to discuss something," Jennifer replied. "The fact that she doesn't want to keep the girl." The nurse shook her head. "You won't convince her. She's made up her mind. We tried talking to her and explaining about the operation, that they'll put in 2 stitches, and that's it. But she hasn't changed her decision." "But what if I can still persuade her? After all, it's very sad for the child," Jennifer insisted. "The most annoying thing. You know what?" The nurse lowered her voice. "She's well off. Some business lady. She has a beauty salon, I think, in the city center. She told that to our doctor. And why did she decide to give up the baby? Can't afford it, huh?" "I'll still try to talk to her," Jennifer replied. "Which room?" Penelope was in a separate room, number 10. Jennifer timidly knocked on the door. "Come in," Penelope allowed. Jennifer nervously adjusted her robe, smoothed her hair, and entered the room. The woman was sitting on the bed reading a book. She was dressed nicely. You wouldn't think she had given birth yesterday. A silky thin robe, home slippers with a low heel peeking from underneath the bed. Her gorgeous hair cascaded in waves over her shoulders. Penelope looked significantly younger than her age. 25, maybe 30. No older. "What brings you here?" Penelope asked briskly. "Hello, I'm here about your decision," Jennifer said. "Can we talk about your daughter?" Penelope: "No, we can't. This matter is closed. I don't want to discuss it. The decision has been made. If you have nothing else for me, I ask you to leave me alone," Penelope replied. "Penelope." But still, Jennifer began, "There must be a reason. As far as I understand, the financial side of the matter doesn't matter in your case. Right. Maybe problems with the baby's father, or that's none of your business. Penelope said. If you don't leave, I'll file a complaint against you. Penelope. I'm not afraid of that. Jennifer shrugged. Just maybe the problem can be solved. And I can help you. Penelope. You can't. The patient said in a frosty tone. But. No but. I don't need a sick child. And that's final. Even if the operation is done, everyone will find out. And they'll gossip behind my back. Besides, I've read that there can be other problems. Heart, kidneys, lungs. I don't plan to spend my life on a disabled child. There are plenty of pitying people in the world with nothing better to do. I'm sure they'll gladly do it for me. Understand, but still, it's cruel. Jennifer burst out. The girl is not to blame. Penelope raised her hands in the air, as if erecting an invisible barrier between herself and her interlocutor. All right. Listen, leave me alone. I've made up my mind. I should have had an abortion. But your colleagues didn't tell me anything about the pathology. But it's not visible, Jennifer whispered. Just one operation. You're getting on my nerves, young lady. Either you leave the room, or I'll call the police. Penelope said. Understand, I don't need this child. I'm telling you for the last time. You can tell me I won't have any more children due to my age. You can tell me about the operation. But I don't care. Do what you want. In the corridor, Jennifer was on the verge of tears. She stood there, staring at the wall, her gaze unfocused. How could this be? No, it didn't make sense to her. Just yesterday, this woman was pregnant, caressing her belly, probably singing songs to her unborn child, just like Jennifer. And now she's ready to just abandon the baby. Although, Penelope must not be one of those women who caress their pregnant bellies. A nurse approached from the station. Well, how did it go? She asked. She doesn't want to take the baby girl. I don't understand, Jennifer replied. The girl is so sweet, sighed the nurse. Do you want to see her? Jennifer wanted to refuse. It was unbearable to look at abandoned children. It hurt too much to know what awaited them ahead. It would be good if she were adopted or if relatives were found to take her in. But what if not? An orphanage. The lack of love and affection. Okay, let's go. Jennifer nodded. Jennifer immediately knew who they had come to. It was as if an invisible light shone over the tiny crib. She approached the baby girl. She froze. The cleft lip didn't mar the child at all. The girl slept peacefully, one little fist peeking out of the blankets. Jennifer touched it with her finger. It was like an electric shock. This was her daughter, her little girl. Not by blood, of course, but this was the child Jennifer had to take for herself. She had to, because she was her daughter. No, it wasn't the miraculously returned baby she had lost once. It's just that Jennifer suddenly, with frightening clarity, understood that she had to become this girl's mother. In her mind's eye, she saw a picture. A clearing in the forest. A sunny day. The buzz of bees is audible. Butterflies flutter over bright yellow flowers. Jennifer works across the clearing in a light dress, holding the hand of a 5-year-old girl. Mama, Mama, look at that butterfly. The girl cries out in excitement, pointing somewhere with her chubby finger. Yes, it's beautiful. Jennifer laughs in response, and suddenly, the picture vanished. The woman, not understanding what she was doing, gently stroked the baby's fist with her finger. Does she have any relatives who would like to take her? She asked, afraid to hear the affirmative answer. Of course, it would be good if someone took the girl. But at that moment, Jennifer felt like she simply wouldn't survive that fact. Penelope said there's no one. She has a mother, but she lives in another country. We contacted her, but she refused. The nurse pursed her lips. How could anyone abandon such a tiny creature? I don't understand. What about the father? Jennifer, still staring at the girl, asked. Her hair was dark. Maybe it would lighten over time. Or maybe it would stay the same. Jennifer thought about braiding those hair strands in a few years. We have his information. But Penelope said it's better not to tell him. He's unaware of the child. There's some complicated story between them. Do you think he should be informed? I need that information. I'll talk to him myself, Jennifer said. It was difficult for her to tear herself away from the girl. Jennifer's phone was already buzzing. William demanded that Jennifer return to her department. They probably brought someone in. She took down the baby girl's father's details and returned to her department. Jennifer, where have you been? William grumbled as he bumped into her in the corridor. A girl was brought in by ambulance. There's a breech presentation. The delivery lasted almost 5 hours. Jennifer stayed by the mother's side the whole time. And finally, a healthy and strong boy came into the world. Leaving the happy mother under the care of the nurses, Jennifer rushed to the head of the department. He needed to know what to do in such situations. Jennifer will name her Hope. Hope of her life. William listened to her story. Do you want to take her? The man asked. Yes, I do, Jennifer admitted. I really do, more than anything in the world. William. Women. The head of the department sighed thoughtfully. I've heard about this. About women who travel to the other end of the country, or even the world, upon seeing a photo of an orphan. But this is my child. Jennifer helplessly shrugged. Understand? I just know it. And that's all. It will be difficult. William leaned back in his chair. You don't have a husband, do you? Have you paid off the mortgage? Not yet. She frowned. And why is that so important? Of course, it's important. Your living conditions are poor. You have a 1-bedroom apartment, right? There won't be a separate room for the child. And you have no relation to this girl. You can try, of course, Jennifer. But if the operation is not complicated, and there are no other problems, she will be quickly taken away. There are queues for such children. And people with better conditions than yours take them. You understand? And they have higher salaries. Jennifer, think about it. Why do you need her? She's mine. Jennifer almost cried. Yes, he's right. He's right about everything. But it's just cruel. Jennifer has to take Hope. She has to bring her home because she's her mother. Maybe God decided it, or Hope's guardian angel. I understand everything. I can even write you a good recommendation if needed. William sighed. Just understand, my dear, that miracles don't happen. They're unlikely to give her to you. You can't just steal her. I can. Jennifer smiled weakly. Think it won't work. Listen, I'm not going to cover for you in that case. The boss replied, with feigned sternness. Jennifer, I'll talk to my contacts. But I can't promise you anything. Understand? And you don't have money to bribe anyone. As I understand. Right. Jennifer hung her head. I barely make ends meet with my salary, and yet you plan to take a child. He looked at her reproachfully. Think carefully. My mom will help me, Jennifer declared. The main thing is that she's legally mine. I'll wait. I'll think about it, the boss promised. But remember, I can't guarantee you anything. Keep that in mind. The rest of the shift passed quietly. Jennifer assisted with another birth before heading to see Hope. She watched the girl in fascination, even feeding her from the bottle. Fortunately, the baby ate on her own, avoiding any cleft palate issues. It turned out that Hope had dark gray eyes. Jennifer even had fleeting thoughts that she resembled her. But what to do now? She didn't want to go home. How could she leave Hope here alone? Jennifer felt like she was giving the baby up. But she was assured that the girl would stay there for at least 3 more days. Jennifer asked for better care for Hope while she was away, and then rushed to the bus stop. Sleep was the last thing on Jennifer's mind. She needed to think about what to do next. Jennifer didn't go home. Instead, she went to her mother's house. Delilah was off that day and was delighted to see her daughter. You look strange, Delilah noticed as she opened the door. Mom, we need to talk, Jennifer said. Jennifer kicked off her boots and hung her jacket on the coat rack. Something happened, Mom. You met someone, didn't you, daughter?" Her mother smiled. "Really? No, no. Mom, it's not like that." Jennifer grimaced. Still, her mom's concern was understandable. She wanted her daughter to sort out her personal life and ideally give her grandchildren. Delilah still hoped for a miracle. There are stories where women with infertility give birth to healthy children. Prayers, true love, just chance. "So, Jennifer, you're scaring me. You're shaking," her mother said. "Mom, pour us some tea, please. I'll tell you everything now," Jennifer promised. In the kitchen, Jennifer told her mother about Hope, about Penelope, and her desire to adopt the girl. "My, you're something else," Delilah sighed. "Though I understand you perfectly, my dear. I've had such moments too, daughter. You look at a child who's been abandoned, and you just want to scoop them up and take them to your den. Why didn't you do it?" Jennifer asked her mother. "I didn't have enough money. No husband. Then you were born. Where would I put a second child? Sometimes, I still regret it. Especially one boy who stuck with me. He was born with Down syndrome. His parents immediately gave up on him. I liked him so much. Such a darling. And what happened to him? Everything turned out well. He went to a good family." Delilah shrugged. "I couldn't have given him what his second mother did. But this Hope, she's definitely mine." Jennifer held the cup of hot tea between her palms. "Mom, I have to figure something out." "What about the girl's father?" Delilah asked. "He knows nothing about her," Jennifer replied. "All I have is his phone number, workplace, and name, Malcolm Simpson. That's it." "So what? We had a case once." Her mother tapped her nails on the table. "But I don't know if it'll work for you." "What case?" Jennifer suddenly became intrigued. "A midwife delivered a baby. The child was healthy. A boy. But the mother wrote a refusal. We tried to talk to her, but she was adamant, saying she needed him, and that's it. Then it turned out she had the child with a man she wanted to marry, but he didn't want to marry her. She was a complicated, hysterical woman. She got pregnant on purpose. Our midwife, Hillary, wanted to take the baby. She contacted the father, and he gave the baby to her." "No, that's not how it works." Delilah smiled. "They couldn't do that. So, they got married. A fake marriage. He took the baby. They made Hillary the legal mother. That was it. 6 months later, they divorced, and the child stayed with her. They even made a prenuptial agreement so she couldn't claim his apartment in case of a divorce. The man turned out to be good. He helped his son later. They're still friends. And that boy is probably 18 or 20 now. I don't remember. So, I have to marry this Malcolm Simpson, right?" Jennifer asked. "Nonsense. Don't listen to me." Delilah waved her hands. "No one will agree to that. I don't know how Hillary convinced the father back then. Maybe this Malcolm is already married. And Penelope, maybe she's his mistress. You don't know what's going on there, but I can try." Jennifer beamed. "Maybe it'll work out. Don't lose your mind. I shouldn't have told you that story. Forget about the child." Delilah replied sternly. "Your hormones are just playing tricks on you, maternal instinct. And what you went through back then is affecting you." "Mom, listen. Penelope refused the baby. That means they'll take her to the orphanage soon," Jennifer replied. "Jennifer, this is my maternal advice to you." Delilah sighed. "Forget about that girl and live your life peacefully." However, Jennifer decided not to follow the advice. When she returned home, she tried to find Malcolm, Hope's father, on social media. She succeeded quickly, though there was hardly any information on his page. Just a photo of a handsome guy around 30, dressed in a white shirt and jeans. His profession was listed as a fitness center trainer. Jennifer smiled. She just needed to take the first step. For some reason, she was confident that everything would work out as she needed. Fate would come to her aid, if only to compensate for what happened in the past. Now everything would be different. Everything would work out. With this thought, Jennifer went to sleep. The woman woke up early, at 6 a.m. She called the ward to make sure everything was okay with Hope. Then she talked to William. "Sorry, William, have you come up with anything about the girl?" "Hello, Jennifer. I've talked to a few people," he said. "They say you can try to adopt her, but your chances are slim. Most likely, the baby will be taken into a full family." "Thank you," she sighed. "It's a pity. Forget about her," William advised. "Jennifer, there's no need to torture yourself. I understand you're emotional, but still." Jennifer felt hurt. It seemed like everyone had conspired against her. Why couldn't anyone just wish her luck? Everyone was discouraging her, as if she had some malicious intent. But Jennifer only wanted to bring her child home. It was simple and obvious. Or had she truly lost her mind? Jennifer couldn't rule out that possibility either. Hope's father worked at a fitness center half an hour's drive from Jennifer's home. Jennifer began to get ready. She needed to dress decently so that he wouldn't think she was crazy. Jennifer took a shower, put on her best sweater, a gift from her mom, chose dark blue straight jeans, and tied her hair into a neat bun. It looked all right. She certainly didn't resemble a city-mad woman. It's a pity Jennifer didn't know how to do fancy makeup. This thought amused her. Of course, makeup would immediately convince Malcolm that he had to marry her and acknowledge her child. It couldn't be any other way. Jennifer quickly made her way to the fitness center called Olympia, one of the most expensive ones. Only affluent people could afford to go to Olympia. This complicated matters. He probably wouldn't even talk to her. The young woman couldn't bring herself to enter. After all, it was a completely different life. A life she had never had access to, but her Hope's father was there. She needed to go find Malcolm. But Jennifer was scared. As long as she had hope, albeit meager and ephemeral, it still existed. But if he refused, then there would be no hope left. How would she live on, losing her first daughter, and then missing out on hope? There was a huge parking lot near the fitness center. Cars of office building employees parked here, located nearby. Jennifer watched as cars arrived and people got out of them. She felt herself starting to freeze. What was wrong with her? She just froze in place. Right now, when she needed to act. How many times had she had to make quick decisions during childbirth? And she never made a mistake. That's why William valued her. And now she was frozen, unable to make herself move from the spot. From one car emerged a woman in her 30s, wearing a long bright red coat. She took a few steps and collapsed. Jennifer jumped up and ran to her. Simultaneously, a man ran to her as well. "Are you okay?" Jennifer knelt beside the woman. "Can I help you?" The man squatted down. "What's wrong with her?" "Unconscious." "Yeah, seems like it," Jennifer said, gently shaking the woman's shoulder. "She's breathing. We need to call an ambulance quickly." "No need," the woman groaned, slowly regaining consciousness. "Then let me help you up," Jennifer offered, extending her hand. The man immediately offered her his shoulder. The woman rose, swaying slightly. "Is this your car?" Jennifer asked. "Yes, it is," the woman replied. She took out a remote from her pocket, opened the door, and sank into the seat. Despite the cold, her skin was pale, and sweat beads dotted her forehead. "Have you eaten recently?" Jennifer asked. The stranger looked at her in surprise. "It seems like yesterday." "I'm just on a diet trying to lose weight," she said barely audibly. "Why?" Jennifer said. "You have a normal weight. Here, hold on a moment." She rummaged in her bag and pulled out a chocolate bar she kept in case she missed lunch at work. The woman took the chocolate bar and turned it in her hands. "Glucose," she sighed. "I avoid it. It's a real carb bomb." "That's exactly what you need. Try it. You'll feel better right away," Jennifer said. The woman opened the chocolate bar with doubt. "I haven't eaten this in ages." "Are you sure it will help?" "Absolutely sure. Unexpectedly came the man's assistance. Only now did Jennifer manage to get a good look at him. A typical businessman, dressed in an expensive coat. A watch on his wrist worth as much as she earns in a year. Neat haircut, well-groomed beard, black-rimmed glasses on his nose. The woman smiled and took a bite of the chocolate, closing her eyes with pleasure. "I've just been forbidden from eating sweets," she complained. "They said I need to lose another 5 kilograms. "Absolutely not," Jennifer exclaimed. "Glucose is fuel for the body. What are you thinking? No car can run without fuel. These diets are evil. I'm telling you as a medic." The woman finished the chocolate, her face returning to a normal shade. "Thank you very much for your help. And what's your name?" "Jennifer. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Daphne." "So, where do you need to go, Daphne?" "Let me escort you," the man offered. "Yes, thank you." Apparently, like Jennifer, she had appreciated her helper. The woman fluttered her eyelashes and playfully extended her hand to him. "Please, escort me to my office on the 2nd floor. Let's go. I'm Xavier. And thank you." He turned to Jennifer. "You're great." They headed towards the office building. Jennifer glanced at the pair. She felt a little sad. Of course, everyone would notice a girl like Daphne. Perhaps if she proposed marriage to Malcolm, he wouldn't hesitate for a second. But Jennifer, she felt like a mouse. Gray, ordinary. The woman adjusted her jacket and headed to Olympia. It was time to act. Jennifer went up to the 2nd floor where the gym was located. Behind the counter stood a sweet girl in her 20s. She smiled at the visitor and asked a question. "Do you want to buy a membership? Our sales department is downstairs on the 1st floor. They can consult you and give you a tour of our center." No, thank you." Jennifer hesitated. "You see, I would like to speak with Malcolm Simpson." "Oh, and for what reason?" asked the girl, whose name, according to her badge, was Cynthia. "On a personal matter," Jennifer said quietly. Cynthia furrowed her thin eyebrows. "Can you be more specific?" Jennifer was angry with herself. Why hadn't she come up with a simple legend for why she needed Malcolm Simpson? She couldn't just tell the truth. "I need him to marry me urgently so I can take his daughter with me. I really need to talk to Malcolm Simpson." Jennifer sighed. "I can't say what it's about." "Well, then I won't be able to help you." Cynthia smiled tensely. "It's family," Jennifer insisted. "I'm his relative." "And which side?" The girl became wary. "A cousin," the visitor lied. "We just had a family tragedy. Our grandmother passed away, and I came to tell him about it." Why didn't you call? And indeed, why not? It's quite simple. Jennifer decided that a conversation over the phone was unlikely to work. Most likely, Malcolm would just hang up as soon as he heard her explanations. "Please understand, I really am his cousin," Jennifer pleaded. "We just didn't talk much. And Cynthia, what's going on?" Behind Jennifer, a pleasant male voice sounded. She turned around and saw Xavier, the same man from the parking lot. "Hello." Cynthia smiled widely, her eyes lighting up. "So, the young lady he wants to see our trainer for personal matters. She says she's his cousin. And the cousin needs to be let through," Xavier ordered. Cynthia, "Got it. Yes. Okay." The girl nodded. "I'm sorry, but you understand that." "I understand," Xavier replied seriously. "Let's go. Family matters usually require immediate attention." Xavier strode purposefully down the corridor. On one side was a plain wall. On the other, a transparent one. Behind the transparent wall were the gym equipment, where sweaty people worked out. Loud music blared. Jennifer thought that such rhythmic music helped distract from the physical pain that the fitness center visitors must be experiencing. Otherwise, it would be simply unbearable. "Do you know what your brother looks like?" Xavier asked. "Yes, of course." Jennifer looked around for Malcolm. "There he is." "Good," Xavier smiled. "Glad to help." He tilted his head slightly and headed towards the men's changing room. leaving her alone. Jennifer froze, looking at Malcolm, tall, handsome, athletic, dressed in a bright t-shirt. Every girl's dream. It makes her wonder what he saw in Penelope. Well, maybe he has nothing to do with her at all. But there was no choice. Jennifer entered the hall and approached Malcolm. He stood near some machine, nodding thoughtfully to the music. "Malcolm?" Jennifer asked timidly. The trainer looked at her with surprise. "Yes, that's me," he replied in a velvety voice. "Do we know each other?" "Not yet," Jennifer replied. "We need to talk." He squinted in response. "About what?" She took a deep breath, then exhaled and blurted out, "About Penelope and your child." "About what child?" He furrowed his brows. "Did she send you to me?" "No one sent me. I came on my own," Jennifer squeaked. "You see, Penelope recently had a baby, and you're listed as the father. Well, I'm very happy for her. But we discussed everything beforehand." Malcolm's eyes darted nervously. She promised not to claim child support. Jennifer felt relieved. It meant that he wasn't going to deny paternity. But how to lead into the main part of the conversation? "Malcolm, can we talk? It's very important. And it's better if it's just the two of us." "All right." He shrugged his broad shoulders. The coaching room should be empty now. They both walked out into the corridor. Malcolm nervously glanced at Jennifer. She already felt like this was the worst idea she could have come up with today. And what was she going to say to him? "Malcolm, could you marry me?" Fictitiously. Of course, nothing like that. And what would she offer him in return? Her body. Jennifer wasn't sure if she was ready for something like that, even for the sake of the little girl. Malcolm was attractive, sure, but there were still some boundaries. She didn't have money, and she didn't have family heirlooms. Her mom was right. She needed to get her head straight. They entered the coaching room. It was a spacious room with 3 sofas and 2 armchairs. 2 sofas were in the shade, and one was illuminated by a floor lamp. The coaching room was filled with pleasant, relaxing semi-darkness. Malcolm slouched into one of the armchairs, spreading his legs wide. And Jennifer timidly sat down on the edge of the sofa. "So, what did you want to tell me?" "Just remember, I'm not going to pay any child support," he said. "It's not about child support. Penelope gave birth to a girl and gave her up," Jennifer began. "What can I do about it?" Malcolm looked at her in surprise. "It happened accidentally. She wanted it herself. Said she wanted a child, and you agreed." Jennifer blurted out, "Why not?" He shrugged. "Penelope and I agreed that if pregnancy happened, she wouldn't ask anything from me. I saw her about 8 months ago for the last time." "What did you want?" "I don't understand. Do I have to take the child? Who are you anyway?" "Malcolm, I work at the maternity ward where Hope, Penelope's daughter, was born. Well, that is, your daughter too." Jennifer chose her words carefully. "I'm a midwife, and I want to take the girl with me." "What do you mean?" The fitness trainer was surprised. "You see, I want to adopt her, but there are difficulties," she explained. "I don't have a husband, and I don't have much money either. I'm not first in line for adoption, darling. They won't give me Hope." "Well, if they won't give her, then it's not meant to be." Malcolm sighed. "I sympathize with you. Is that all?" "No, it's not," Jennifer exclaimed. "You can help me." "How can I help?" Jennifer closed her eyes for a moment, then spoke firmly. "To help by entering into a sham marriage with me." "Malcolm, well, no." He laughed. "I'm seeing you for the first time in my life. And how could that possibly help at all? You're the father. They'll give you the child. We can legally establish my right to the girl. Then we'll divorce, and I'll take her with me. It's simple. It's just a formality." "Just a formality? Ha!" He raised his eyebrows. "I wasn't planning on getting married anytime soon. Especially not to a stranger. Honestly, I couldn't care less about Penelope or her child. Maybe it's not even mine." "You're just listed as the father," Jennifer said. They'll give her to you. Understand? Wait. What if you decide you don't want the girl anymore? Disappear and leave the baby to me. By the way, what's her name? She doesn't have a name yet. I wanted to name her Hope. And I won't disappear. Jennifer promised. I'm begging you. What can I do to make you agree? Money. I'll try to get it. I don't need money. Malcolm stood up, signaling the end of the conversation. Goodbye, and thanks for the wonderful news that I've become a father. Please. Jennifer felt tears welling up in her eyes. But what did she expect? That he would immediately agree to her crazy plan. If she were in his shoes, she would probably have kicked him out too. Tell me, why do you want her? Malcolm asked. She's my child, Jennifer said. I'm ready to do anything, but I'll still refuse. Sorry, no need to apologize. A man rose from the couch in the shadows. Jennifer gasped in surprise. So, their conversation had witnesses. The man stretched and took a step. Xavier. Malcolm was surprised. What are you doing here? I dropped by to chat with you during lunch. Just lay down. Xavier sat across from Malcolm. Sorry, Jennifer. I should have let you know you weren't alone. I accidentally overheard your conversation. Malcolm, this is an excellent option. What excellent option? Have you lost your mind? No. But remember the conversation with your father, Xavier said. Or do I need to remind you? Jennifer shifted her gaze between Xavier and Malcolm, not understanding anything. You mean I should do as this? Malcolm grumbled. Jennifer reminded him. Do two things at once, Xavier said. Repair your relationship with your father and help the girl solve a difficult problem. I would even say, unsolvable without your involvement. That's me speaking as a lawyer. She's come up with everything correctly. And your father will definitely like her, especially after all your stories. Malcolm looked at Jennifer assessingly. She clasped her hands on her knees and stared into space, trying not to shake with excitement. Jennifer didn't understand what was happening, but she knew that her fate was being decided now. And not just hers, but also the fate of the girl with whom she would one day walk to a sun-drenched meadow to watch butterflies and dragonflies. Well, maybe you're right. Malcolm sighed. Jennifer looked at him in surprise. Was this some kind of joke? And what was Xavier doing here anyway? Yeah, I'm right. As always, Xavier smirked. On my end, I'll do everything to get your father to forgive you. Agreed, Xavier. Just to make sure she can't take anything. Well, property and all that, Malcolm said. All right, miss, what's your name? Jennifer. Well then, all right, Jennifer. I'll call you tomorrow. Goodbye. He stood up and left the room, not looking back, leaving the guest alone with Xavier. How? Jennifer blurted out. Just like that. Xavier turned to her and gave her a gentle smile. Cousin, sorry. I had to lie. Jennifer blushed. I really needed to talk to him. When I saw that girl, his daughter, I knew I had to take her. Xavier looked thoughtfully past Jennifer. Yeah, I understand. Shall I escort you? I wanted to talk to Malcolm, but it seems the conversation is over. He needs to recover from such news. From your proposal. I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do, Jennifer said. Xavier looked so calm and confident. But who was he? Let's go. He stood up and offered her his hand. I can take you home. I've already sorted things out at the office, and we can talk on the way. Looks like we're future relatives. Trust me, my brother will do whatever I tell him. Brother? Yeah, brother. We're two sons. The older one was smart. The younger one was a fool. Xavier shook his head. Long story. I don't think you need the details. He gallantly held the door open, letting Jennifer go ahead. The young woman stepped out of the room, almost stumbling over the threshold. Together, they left the sports center. Jennifer felt like sinking into the ground, but at the same time, she rejoiced. Could her plan really work? Just a little more, and she would become Hope's mom. I wonder why Xavier decided to help her. Where are you headed? He asked, looking at Jennifer. I live nearby. I can work, she replied. Jennifer didn't want to be near this person. She wanted to go back home, calm down a bit, and then go to the maternity hospital to see Hope again. Suddenly, Jennifer realized how much she missed the little girl. I think we need to discuss something, Xavier stated. After all, it won't be long before we are family. All right, Jennifer nodded. I understand how all this must look from your perspective. Truly, I do. I believe you understand correctly. It looks like absolute madness. And I need to make sure you don't have any secret plans concerning Malcolm and our family. Understand? My colleagues and I will check the information about you and your past life. What? Jennifer was taken aback. Yes. Her interlocutor replied calmly. I'll need your passport. I think that would be fair. Maybe you're a fraudster. Ha, I'm a midwife. Jennifer exclaimed. Well, dear midwife, people sometimes combine several professions. Xavier shrugged. Don't be offended by me. I worry about my brother. It's a family thing that I have to deal with his problems. And I don't want you to become a new problem. Jennifer thought for a moment, then nodded. Yes, you're right. Just a moment. She opened her bag and began searching for her passport. Not now, Jennifer. Perhaps we could sit somewhere. Have some coffee. Talk, he suggested. But I see your determination indicates you're serious. And I like that. Apparently, you really have nothing to hide. Of course not, she confirmed. My most serious offense is jaywalking. Oh, I can forgive that. Let's go. There's a nice cafe nearby. 10 minutes later, they were sitting in a cafe on the ground floor of the business center. Jennifer didn't order anything. She had no appetite. So, Jennifer, you want a child, Xavier began. But no one will just give it to you. They'll give it to the father. And you've come up with this plan to get the child. Am I understanding you correctly? Yes, that's right. She nodded. Lord, they were discussing some sort of joint project, or preparing to sign a business contract. Nothing stranger had ever happened in her life before. Well, I'll need something from you. Xavier looked pensive. I think you're the perfect candidate. But do you know how to lie? Of course I do, Jennifer assured him. Everyone does. Xavier laughed in response. No, not everyone. You know what's key to a successful lie? I've realized it over the years as a lawyer. And what's that? Good memory and a vivid imagination. If you lack memory, you'll forget some details and get caught. And imagination is necessary to simulate the situation within yourself. Live it as if it were real. I hope you, Jennifer, can manage. All right. What do you need from me? The woman asked. She suddenly felt uneasy. What had she gotten herself into? What kind of lies was her interlocutor talking about? Jennifer, understand, this is a very long story, Xavier sighed. We have a complicated family, very complicated. And you can help Malcolm and me with something related to our father. I won't engage in anything criminal. I'm warning you now, Jennifer burst out. If you need me to smuggle jewels across the border or steal something, then I'm definitely not your person. Jennifer, you read too many detective novels. Xavier wrinkled his nose. No, of course not. I'm not going to ask you for anything like that. The thing is, Malcolm disappointed our father, and you can help him repair his relationship with Dad. But the marriage will be fake. So why introduce me to the family? I'm not insisting that you consummate your marriage with Malcolm, Jennifer. That's definitely not necessary. And I wouldn't advise Malcolm. He's so fickle. But you, it seems to me, need something else, something more down to earth. But you'll definitely appeal to our father. I can assure you of that. Especially with a child. We'll come up with a story to present to Dad. And he'll be happy to hear that his younger and favorite son has come to his senses. Understand? But why? Malcolm and I are going to divorce anyway, Jennifer exclaimed. surprised. How long is all of this supposed to last? Not long. Xavier frowned. But let's talk about that later. Do you know who our father is? Honestly, I have no idea, Jennifer admitted. I only learned the name of Hope's father from the documents. That's all. I haven't tried to find out anything else. Oh, what naivety. Xavier laughed. You're either very foolish or very determined. And it seems you really need that poor baby for some reason. I need her, Jennifer said quietly. I need her very much. Well, never mind. Jennifer mentally scolded herself. She almost started telling a stranger how she once lost her daughter. Just tearful details were missing. Let him think she's crazy instead. Well, then, let's have your passport, and we'll check you against our databases, demanded Xavier. Here, take my business card, and also write down your phone number. Jennifer jotted down her phone number on a napkin and took the business card. Xavier Simpson, lawyer, corporate attorney. Everything seemed so serious. Xavier was holding her passport, examining it with such scrutiny, as if he doubted the value of a diamond placed before him. Are you divorced? He asked. Yes. The woman frowned. For a long time. Couldn't get along. No, we couldn't. She shook her head, brushing away unpleasant memories. It happens. But is that important, Xavier? Well, father won't approve, of course. We'll have to come up with something. All right, I've said all I wanted. Can I go then? Yes, go ahead. I'll finish my coffee. The man nodded. Jennifer left the cafe, trying not to quicken her pace. Although she wanted to run away from this madness she was immersing herself in. Although, if she had to sell her soul for Hope's sake, she would do it without hesitation. Jennifer stopped by the maternity hospital to visit the baby. It was hard to tear herself away and go home. Saying goodbye to the little girl was tough. Why couldn't she just take her away? Why did they come up with so many silly rules? Penelope was already getting ready to go home. That's what the nurse told Jennifer. She had never been to her daughter, nor was she interested in the operation. Xavier called Jennifer at 10 in the evening. Hello, Jennifer. You're clean, the man said with satisfaction. So, I'm ready to fulfill your request. But you'll have to fulfill mine too. And Malcolm, he won't object. I already told you, Malcolm will do as I say. He replied. He understands it's for his own good. Can we talk tomorrow? Yes, we can. I'm have the day off, Jennifer said. Great, I'll come over. Expect me at 8 in the morning. Jennifer was surprised. In the evening, Xavier replied. Jennifer wouldn't argue. It seemed like her fate now depended on this man. Before bed, Jennifer looked at the photo of the baby she took on her phone. Hold on. Just a little longer, Hope. Soon we'll be together. I'll be your official mom instead of Penelope. The next day, Xavier arrived at 8 in the evening, as promised. Taking off his coat, he glanced around the hallway. Are you going to live here with the child? Yes, Jennifer replied, a bit offended. And what about it? Well, the apartment is so-so. It's a one-bedroom, isn't it? Well, there's plenty of space. Jennifer pursed her lips. What's with the inspection anyway? Maybe you'll check the fridge too. I just thought that when you get divorced, there might be issues with this. After all, you'll be moving with the child to worse conditions. But never mind. The main thing is to draw up the contract properly. Tell me, where can I wash my hands? The bathroom is over there. Jennifer nodded. And go to the kitchen. After a couple of minutes, the guest was already sitting at the table, continuing to scrutinize the room critically. Yeah, I'm amazed by this layout. It's quite cramped here. I bought what I could afford. After all, I'm just a midwife. Don't forget, Jennifer retorted. Do you often have such impulses? Xavier asked. What impulses? I mean, the desire to adopt a child. They often refuse, don't they? Really? Jennifer frowned. Refusals are rare. And this desire arose for the first time. Is this an interrogation? Yes, it is. The man nodded calmly. What did you expect when you came to Malcolm with a request to marry you? I understand. Truly, I do, Jennifer conceded. I don't fully, said Xavier. After all, this child is a stranger to you. She's Malcolm's and someone named Penelope's. And yet, you're going crazy trying to take this hope away. You see, Xavier, it just happened. I just saw her and knew she was mine, Jennifer confessed. That's all, okay. I won't delve into the intricacies of your mysterious feminine soul. But let me tell you a bit about why your proposal benefits me. Believe me, if it weren't the case, I would have refused you immediately. I'll say a few words about our family. I think it's important for understanding. It turned out that Xavier was Malcolm's older brother. They had different mothers. Douglas divorced his first wife when Xavier was 5 years old. Then he remarried. Malcolm was born from the second marriage. However, the second marriage didn't bring happiness to Douglas either, leading to another divorce. Douglas managed to obtain custody of the children from his wives. It wasn't surprising. He was a wealthy businessman, dealing in metal sales. The man had connections and resources, and the wives didn't object to unloading the burden of children from their ex-husband. Douglas generously paid them off, gave them an apartment each, and a car. Xavier and Malcolm were very different. Xavier was serious, thoughtful, and loved studying. He was disciplined. Malcolm couldn't stand school. Douglas paid huge sums to ensure Malcolm attended an elite high school, where grades were given to him for his good looks. Moreover, Malcolm was his father's favorite, and Xavier felt it from childhood. Malcolm's pranks were always forgiven, even when he stole a teacher's wallet in 5th grade for no reason. His father forgave him for that too. He even started giving Malcolm more pocket money to prevent him from wanting to steal again. The older, Xavier, could expect severe punishment even for getting a B on a difficult test, even if the other kids got C's. I don't care how others did, Douglas would repeat. What matters is what you got, my son. I know what you are capable of. So for the whole next week, you're deprived of your computer because you need to study harder. You can only achieve something if you work hard. Do you understand? And Xavier worked hard. He studied, trying to please his father. And Malcolm did nothing. He received grades and praise without exerting any effort. Xavier finished school and enrolled in university. He dreamed of becoming a lawyer. His father approved of his desire. However, Douglas insisted that Xavier become a corporate lawyer. It'll be useful for me, and you'll learn much more, he said. As for Malcolm, he didn't quite understand what he wanted from life. He initially entered a drama school, but quickly left when he realized he wasn't the most talented in the class and wasn't receiving praises easily. Then he tried his hand at economics, but found it too complex and dull. Next, he attempted 2 years at the psychology faculty, but got expelled for skipping classes and attempting to bribe a professor. His father paid no attention to this, apparently satisfied with Xavier's achievements. He just loved Malcolm for who he was. As Xavier grew older, he began to understand why things turned out that way. His mother, whom Douglas didn't love, was from his college days, and their marriage fell apart after Douglas found success in business. He grew tired of his old wife and divorced her, hastily marrying Malcolm's mother, Mickey. Douglas adored Mickey, fulfilling her every whim, showering her with gifts, and regularly taking her on vacations abroad. But Mickey didn't appreciate his generosity and cheated on him with her personal driver. Then she left, abandoning Douglas and Malcolm. Douglas couldn't forgive her for the betrayal, but apparently he still loved her. And that's not surprising. Xavier had vague memories of his stepmother, but her appearance was etched in his memory. She was a tall, slender blonde with huge blue eyes. She could have been a queen of any runway if she wanted. As the years passed, Douglas came to realize that parting ways with his first wife, Xavier's mother, Olive, was a mistake. She was a cardiologist. After the divorce, She remarried a Belgian and moved to Bruges. Unlike Mickey, she regularly called and wrote to her son. Then she was gone. The cause of her death was cancer. Douglas took her passing very hard. He often spoke about Olive, repeating that divorcing her was his biggest mistake. Deep down, Xavier agreed with his father, but he never voiced it aloud. When Xavier turned 35 and Malcolm 30, their father married for the third time. His new wife was Selena, a young model from the province. Xavier thought his father had gone mad in his old age. But why would he need a young woman? However, they didn't argue with their father and their family. Xavier accepted his father's choice. Douglas barely communicated with Selena. They simply had nothing to talk about. But Malcolm liked Selena, not as a stepmother, but as a woman. And Xavier noticed it first and decided to talk to his brother. "Malcolm, what are you doing?" he asked one day. "What am I doing?" Malcolm innocently replied, "You're flirting with Selena." And she giggles as if it's okay. "What if Dad finds out?" "What would he find out? There's nothing between us. After all, you could say she's like my second mom." "Yeah, right. I saw you stroking her hand when Dad wasn't looking. You might as well have kissed." "Xavier, don't make up stories. I don't need her. I have plenty of girlfriends, unlike you." Malcolm was right about that. He often changed girlfriends. He had his father's money, an attractive appearance, and he had completed fitness trainer courses, preferring to work out with young, pretty ladies. He often got involved with married women, saying it was safer, no commitments. Then what Xavier feared most happened. Their father, Douglas, caught his younger son and his wife in their own bed. Douglas kicked them both out of the house. Selena had to return to the province where she came from, and Malcolm became persona non grata in the house. "So, excuse me, but what does it have to do with me?" Jennifer asked. "It has to do with you because thanks to you, Dad might forgive Malcolm," Xavier replied. "It's quite simple. You resemble his first wife. Somehow. I don't understand how. Plus, there's the child. Dad has been dreaming of grandchildren for a long time. But he's unlikely to get them from me." "Why, Xavier? It just turned out that way." The man looked at her. "There's a lot of work. You understand. Life is too short. I want to achieve something. And a family. It takes up too many resources and time." "Xavier, why do you want this?" "To make peace between your father and your brother." "Because it weighs heavily on him," Xavier said after a pause. "And he doesn't have much time left." Jennifer, "What?" She couldn't believe her ears. "Is he sick?" "Yes, he has heart problems. I don't want him to pass away without forgiving his beloved younger son." And Xavier looked out the window. "You see, Jennifer, Malcolm might be whatever, but I feel sorry for my father. I see how much he's suffering. And here comes the granddaughter and the reformed younger son. Let the old man leave in peace." "Are there any other reasons?" Jennifer asked. "No, there are no other reasons." Xavier looked at her and smiled. "Why don't you believe that I love my father and want him to reconcile with his beloved son? Just as I believe that you saw someone else's child and decided you couldn't live another day without him." Jennifer involuntarily smiled in response. Xavier was right. Her story seemed much more absurd. Yet, Jennifer's story is truthful from start to finish. "Xavier, do you think that upon seeing me and Hope, your dad will immediately forgive Malcolm?" "Well, I suppose so. A reformed Malcolm, his decent wife, a daughter. Dad really wants grandchildren. He's just dreaming," Xavier replied. "You know, I don't like to lie," Jennifer admitted, "especially in such a situation." "Well, we can do nothing," Xavier shrugged. "But it seemed to me that you don't have any other chances." "Jennifer, I don't. Or rather, they're too few." "Will you show her to me?" Xavier unexpectedly asked. "Show the girl? Who else? The one you want to adopt?" "Yes, sure. Just a moment." Jennifer opened the photo on her phone. Here, take a look. Cleft lip. Xavier commented. Is the operation scheduled? Not yet. Soon. Jennifer absent-mindedly traced her finger over the photograph and smiled. I wish she were here now. Almost there. Just a little bit left. The young woman glanced at Xavier and realized he wasn't looking at the photo, but at her. Jennifer felt awkward. She coughed and closed the picture. It's nothing serious. A couple of stitches, she explained. And no feeding issues either. Well, that's even better. Malcolm didn't shy away from a sick child. Brought her into the house. Xavier adjusted his sweater collar and stroked his beard. Honestly, she's a cute girl. Somehow resembles you. Yeah, they're all the same at this age. Jennifer laughed. But not yet, though. Okay, never mind. Penelope, of course, is amazing. Ideal woman. Ideal life. But the child isn't ideal. Do you know this Penelope? I've seen her a few times. Even warned Malcolm once not to get involved with her. She's a shark. I don't like such people. A shark. It doesn't matter. Xavier stood up and extended his hand to Jennifer. I'll call you. Malcolm will come for the child. And then we'll deal with all the formalities. You'll have to live in our house. Of course, I'll take you to work. To work? Wait. How come to work? And who will take care of Hope? Jennifer got scared. Who? A nanny, Xavier shrugged. Why not? Or do you want to take maternity leave? Yes, of course, I'll take it. She needs me to be around. They'll let me off at work. I have a good boss. Well, what to do with you? Xavier smiled. Jennifer, wait for the call. And don't be afraid. I'll help you however I can. You can't stand in the way of a woman who wants to be a mother. Seeing off Xavier, Jennifer danced around the room. She did it. Unbelievable. She made it happen. They say if you truly want something, the universe will conspire to make it possible. How many times had Jennifer encountered stories of women who despaired of becoming mothers and yet defied doctors' orders in illnesses and age? True, she had almost no chances. What did the doctor say after that accident? 1 in a million chance. And now that chance had come. Yes, maybe not as she had imagined it, but she would become a mother. True, it would require lying to an elderly sick person, but it's a life for good. So, if God does exist, he will surely forgive Jennifer. The next few days passed in a blur. Malcolm came for Hope. They handed the girl over without any problems. Apparently, Xavier managed to mobilize the necessary resources. Hope's mother, Penelope, checked out and went home, as if the baby had never existed. A week later, Jennifer married Malcolm. The groom was a little scared, but he held up pretty well. Jennifer was trembling. After the wedding, Jennifer went home with Hope, and Malcolm moved to a rented apartment where he had been living for a whole year. On the day of the wedding, Xavier visited Jennifer. To her surprise, he even awkwardly held Hope in his arms, nervously, like many men. But he took her on his own initiative, explaining that Hope was his niece. If anything, I'm ready to help, he said, handing the little girl to Jennifer. I understand everything. She's not a stranger to me. Although I don't feel like an uncle. But I didn't come for that. And why did you come? Jennifer asked, laying the baby in the crib. She's so calm, unbelievable. She used to cry a lot in the maternity ward. Well, I guess she also feels that you, Jennifer, are her mom. So, what did you want to discuss? Your story. Xavier settled into the armchair. I've already told Malcolm everything. Now it's your turn. My story. Yes. How you met. Where did the child come from eventually? Well, as for the child, I think your father knows where babies come from. Jennifer chuckled. Xavier chuckled too. Oh, no, not in that sense. In a general sense. You and Malcolm met at the gym. You went there because you were given a membership. He noticed you when you helped a woman who felt unwell. She came to the workout hungry. That's how you met, and a romance blossomed with me. Jennifer wrinkled her nose. I don't think I'm his type. Well, he realized that the inner world is more important. So, I only have an inner world. Ha. And outwardly, I'm not capable of attracting the attention of such a man. Jennifer feigned offense. Oh no. Come on. Xavier was alarmed. We need to come up with some legend. Jennifer laughed. And Xavier realized she was joking. And then you got pregnant. Hope was born. You decided to get married. That's it. Well, I can't say this story is realistic. Jennifer sighed. Hope whimpered. Jennifer immediately took her out of the crib and began to rock her. Xavier watched her with a strange, thoughtful smile. Finally, the baby calmed down. In general, the story is normal. Malcolm could reconsider his preferences, Xavier said quietly, so as not to wake the baby. Dad will believe it. Hope has the same mole on her cheek as him. When are we leaving? Where? Jennifer was scared. Where? To our house. Jennifer. What are you hesitating about? Jennifer suddenly realized that she had no idea where her temporary family lived. My father has a house in an elite community. You probably know it. It's called New Modern. Xavier explained. New Modern. Yes, I know. Jennifer replied. Yes. I promised my father that we would come on Sunday to talk. He'll be waiting. He doesn't know I'm bringing you, so it'll be a surprise. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Jennifer remarked. It's all fine. Everything will work out. And if not, the little one will stay with you anyway. Trust me, Malcolm doesn't need her. And Penelope probably won't want to be a mother either. Jennifer took a month off. William approved it calmly and without reproach. The next few days passed in a haze. She got used to Hope, and Hope got used to her. Jennifer realized that it wasn't over yet, and it was too early to celebrate. But nonetheless, the woman was happy. She bathed the girl, fed her from the bottle, changed her diapers, sang songs, and tried not to think about what would happen next. Malcolm showed no interest in the girl at all. Xavier explained that Penelope had decided to have a child for herself, and Malcolm agreed, thinking his role would be limited to conception. And it might have turned out that way, but Penelope suddenly changed her mind. And when Jennifer saw the baby, she decided to take her. On Friday evening, Xavier came for Jennifer. She was terribly nervous, feeling like she had forgotten something important, or that she wouldn't be able to handle her role and would say something that would allow Douglas to expose their deception. But Xavier was completely calm, even taking care of the car seat. So, what about Malcolm? She asked, settling into Xavier's car. He's coming in his own car too, Xavier replied. Father won't notice. He hardly ever leaves his room now. Oh, by the way, how is your dad? Heart failure. Xavier looked grimly at Jennifer. They say he has 3 months left. Or 2. Well, a little time. And then, let's just say, we'll terminate our contract. That's very sad, Jennifer said. I'm very sorry for you. Well, that's life. Someone dies. Someone is born. That's life. The man replied. His calmness surprised Jennifer. After all, it was his father they were talking about. But then again, someone else's soul. An uncharted territory. They drove in silence towards Douglas's house. They only stopped once. Hope woke up and started to fuss, so Jennifer had to feed her. Don't you regret it? Xavier asked, watching Jennifer fussing with the bottle. Well, of course not, she replied. I don't even understand what this is. I saw her, and it was like a bolt of lightning struck me. Why don't you have your own children? That's an insensitive question. She frowned. Sorry, I was just curious. I mean, you do love children. Finally, they arrived at the gated community. Douglas lived in a 2-story house straight out of an elite housing catalog. Snow-white walls, a snow-covered garden, elongated windows. Such houses are only built to order and only for wealthy people. A thought flickered through Jennifer's mind. What is she getting herself into? Why? What if her mother was right? What if their deception is uncovered? How much do they give for a fake marriage? Do they imprison or just fine? She'd have to ask Xavier. All right. Malcolm has arrived. He's sitting in the car. Let's go, Xavier said. He helped Jennifer out of the car and extracted Hope from the car seat. Malcolm got out of his car, noticing his brother and wife, and greeted them. Hey, he pulled Jennifer towards him and kissed her on the cheek. In response to her surprised look, Malcolm shrugged. Well, why not? I'm getting into character. Don't overdo it, Xavier advised him. There's no need to overplay. Did you warn Dad that I'd be coming? Malcolm asked. No, but I told him I wasn't coming alone, Xavier replied, looking at Jennifer again. Are you ready? Well, to be honest, I'm not ready at all. That's okay. You fit the role of the shy girl who came to a wealthy house. Let's go, or else Hope will freeze. Xavier snatched the carrier from his companion's hands and headed towards the house. Jennifer followed him. The door was opened by a young woman in a gray dress. Hi, Fiona, Xavier said. How's Dad? Hello. He's okay. The doctor came this morning and said there haven't been any changes. Well, that's also good news, Xavier sighed. At least things haven't gotten worse. So, this is Malcolm, and this is Jennifer, his wife, and this is Hope, their daughter. Fiona's eyes widened. Well, oh, who do we have here? So sweet. Look at this little darling. Such a sweet little baby. Jennifer couldn't help but smile. Fiona didn't show any sign of noticing Hope's cleft lip. The house was as luxurious inside as it was outside. The furniture was made of natural wood, and the walls were lined with marble. A palace. It was clear that Douglas was truly the master of this domain. Jennifer picked up Hope, and the baby grumbled unhappily. I've ordered diapers and everything you need, Xavier unexpectedly said. Fiona, could you please show Jennifer to her room? Malcolm and I need to talk before we go to see Dad. Let's go upstairs. Fiona smiled. A spacious room was assigned to the woman and her daughter. There was even a dresser for baby clothes and a changing table. Well, Jennifer exclaimed in surprise. Yes, Xavier arranged it. Fiona nodded. He's a good person. He cares about his niece. Your husband is a bit absent-minded. And how long have you been working here? Jennifer asked. Oh, for a long time. Almost 10 years. Fiona approached Jennifer and gently stroked Hope's head. I love children. I have 2 of my own. My oldest is about to finish college. I didn't think Malcolm would choose someone like you. Why? Well, you see, he usually goes for a different type. The ones with lips. Fiona pouted her lips and raised her eyebrows, indicating the kind of women Malcolm usually prefers. Well, tastes change, Jennifer said. Jennifer laid Hope on the table and began to extract her from the warm cocoon. She's so sweet. Fiona smiled. Feel free to ask me if you need anything. I'd be happy to help. Listen, Fiona. About Douglas, Malcolm's father. What's he like? Him? Fiona pondered. Well, he's not a bad person. Very strict. Once he decides something, he won't change his mind for anything. So it's better if he likes you from the start. I hope he'll make amends with Malcolm. Malcolm seems to have softened, after all, and a granddaughter will melt Douglas's heart. Fiona winked. So don't worry. All right, I'll leave you to it. Jennifer changed the baby's clothes and settled with her on the couch. She pondered about the operation. It would be done when Hope turned 3 months old. Poor thing. She'll have to undergo anesthesia, then recovery. It's good she'll forget about it when she grows up. I wonder what she'll be like. There was a knock on the door. Yes. Come in. Xavier entered the room. Let's go see Dad. Time to meet the father-in-law, so to speak. I'm nervous, Jennifer admitted. What if he kicks us out? Oh, come on. I don't think so. Xavier approached and stroked Hope's head. After all, he loves Malcolm in the end. He'll seize the opportunity to reconcile. There was a hint of jealousy in Xavier's voice, and Jennifer felt sorry for him. A successful, wealthy man feeling unhappy. Xavier must be very lonely. Are you going like that? He asked. Any trace of sympathy vanished. What's wrong with him? She was wearing a perfectly decent sweater and jeans. Almost new, actually. Bought just a year ago. What's wrong? Jennifer asked. Change your clothes. Do you have a dress? Yes, I do. Give me 5 minutes. He nodded and left. Did you hear that? Change your clothes. Jennifer complained to her daughter. Jennifer's dress was simple. Woolen, knee-length, knitted with bulky braids. She knitted it herself last year. Jennifer changed and looked at herself in the mirror. Not bad at all. Just one thing was missing. She let her bun loose. Her hair fell onto her shoulders. Jennifer's hair was thick, chestnut, slightly curly. It turned out quite nicely. Xavier was waiting for her in the corridor. Seeing Jennifer, he smiled. Looks good. Cozy, he said. And where's Malcolm? My little brother is with Dad. Sent him to talk. Hope he finally decided to go into his room. Xavier frowned. Otherwise, he's behaving like a child. They went downstairs. Jennifer looked around. Yes, the homeowner definitely knows how to create understated luxury. Would she like to live in such an environment? Jennifer decided she would, but she would take a long time to get used to it after her tiny apartment. Xavier approached one of the doors, unexpectedly winked at Jennifer, and knocked. Then, without waiting for an answer, he entered. The woman followed him. Jennifer found herself in a spacious room. Bookshelves lined the walls. Apparently, the owner loves to read. In the center of the room was a writing desk with a huge monitor. In the far corner was the bed. A man sat on the edge of the bed. Thin, pale, with bluish lips and sharp facial features. For some reason, he reminded Jennifer of a raven. Malcolm was sitting on a chair next to the bed, hunched over. Father, this is Jennifer, Malcolm's wife. And this is Hope, their daughter, Xavier said. The elderly man weakly smiled. Unexpected news and pleasant. Can you come closer? Xavier nudged Jennifer forward. She hesitantly approached Douglas. Hello, and let me see the granddaughter. I'm curious, Douglas said. Jennifer thought at least she wouldn't have to lie. Indeed, it's his granddaughter. And what difference does it make that she's not her real mother? Douglas's smile widened. Give her to me. Jennifer sat on the edge of the bed and handed Hope to Douglas. He stroked the baby's cheek. Cute. Looks like her dad, doesn't she? My little one. Malcolm perked up a bit. Yes, very much alike. Right, Dad. But Douglas looked at his son with a stern gaze. You've done the easy part. Let's see how you handle parenting. Jennifer, tell me about yourself. As the kids keep their lives hidden from me, I work as a midwife at the maternity hospital. Jennifer replied. That's good, the homeowner said. I probably shouldn't say this, but Malcolm used to have other girls. To put it plainly, party girls. He was quite wild in his youth, and he had his opportunities. But there comes a time to settle down. Dad, come on. Why are you saying this? Malcolm grumbled. What? I'm telling the truth. Douglas frowned. Your wife should know about it. What else will you tell us? Jennifer felt incredibly tense. She even tried to keep her back straight, as if taking the most important exam of her life. But gradually, she began to relax. Meanwhile, Douglas didn't let go of Hope, stroking her head and smiling. Apparently, he was pleased. Jennifer talked about her studies, funny incidents, and her practice. Malcolm also started to thaw. Xavier nodded with a satisfied expression, as if Jennifer were his student, and he was proud of her knowledge and preparation. After half an hour, Fiona entered the room. Douglas, you need to rest, she said. Fiona, always bossing around. Douglas sighed. Can't leave an old man in peace, can you? The Ford rip. She gestured. and medications. All right. All right. The homeowner said good-naturedly. We'll catch up over dinner. Fiona, you'll set up in the living room, won't you? Dad, are you sure? Xavier asked. Sure, Douglas said. I'm not that old. By the way, Jennifer, could you set up the 4 for me? I want to see your skills. Jennifer sighed. Understood. He's testing her. What if she lied and had never worked in a maternity hospital in her life? I'd be happy to. Oh, sorry, Jennifer stammered. Malcolm timidly took Hope in his arms. Together with Xavier, he left the room, and Fiona opened a secret door leading to what seemed like a makeshift treatment room. Apparently, Douglas didn't want his bedroom to resemble a hospital ward. Fiona wheeled in a table with all the necessary equipment for the 4 setup. You can wash your hands over there. Fiona nodded towards the makeshift treatment room. Jennifer set up the 4 with ease. Douglas nodded in satisfaction. Oh, good. See, Fiona, learn from her. Well, I used to work as a nurse 100 years ago. Fiona calmly replied. You know that, Douglas. That's why I only trust you. And now Jennifer too. Although not yet. For now, I have to make sure she's not deceiving me. Jennifer flinched and looked at the old man in surprise. What did Douglas mean? What are you scared of? He chuckled. I understand everything Xavier told me about you. Modest. Not used to this environment. But you'll get used to it. I won't leave my granddaughter and her mother without help. If you're good enough for Xavier, then you are good enough for me. I trust my son. At least, the older one. I'll go to my daughter, Jennifer said. Yes, go ahead, of course. And until evening. Today we'll celebrate your wedding with Malcolm. You forgot to invite an old man. Completely forgot. But it's good you remembered now. Douglas turned away and looked out the window at the snow-covered garden. But I'm not offended. At least I saw you and my granddaughter managed to. Jennifer left the room. Her legs felt weak. She leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. It seems he believed her, and he's even pleased. Lord, let everything work out. Poor old man, sick, lonely, and Jennifer is lying to him. Although they say lying is sometimes justified. If Xavier wants him to leave happy, then Jennifer must help with that. Just don't mess up and do something stupid. Jennifer almost ran to her room. There she found Xavier, who was rocking Hope. So, how did it go? He asked. Did you set it up? Yes, of course, I did, Jennifer replied. Jennifer took her daughter and sat down with her on the bed next to Xavier. Was she fussy? I calmed her down, Xavier replied. I asked Malcolm, but he seems to be afraid of her. Well, that's normal, Jennifer shrugged. Many men are terrified of children, especially babies. They wait for the child to grow up so they can go to football with them. And, by the way, Dad liked you, Xavier remarked. Everything is going as I wanted. It's strange that he decided to have dinner in the living room. Why is that strange? He hasn't left his room for almost a year. Xavier stroked Sleeping Hope's head. Look, how alive he's become. It's all thanks to you and Hope. Just hope he doesn't get worse. He's not persuadable. He's stubborn. Yeah, it's noticeable. I hope everything works out. Jennifer kissed Hope. It's hard for you. I'm really sorry. Well, what can you do? No one lives forever, Xavier replied. Anyway, rest. Dinner's at 7. It's a tradition. And Jennifer realized she had plenty of time. She put the baby in the crib and took a shower. Then she fed the baby. Then she lay with her for a while, admiring her. Strange. For some reason, Jennifer had no doubts that this was her daughter. I wonder why. What invisible strings touched her soul with this cute little girl? Before dinner, there was still some time, so Jennifer decided to take a walk in the garden. She bundled up Hope and headed downstairs. I wonder what Malcolm is doing. He didn't even come to talk to her. Is he afraid or doesn't he want to see Hope? who reminds him of a mistake he once made. Although his mistake led to her coming into the world. Maybe that's the meaning of mistakes. Sometimes, a little miracle can happen because of them. In the frosty garden, Hope quickly fell asleep. Jennifer walked with the baby along the path. After half an hour, she got cold and returned to the house. She really wanted a cup of tea. I wonder where the kitchen is. She quickly found the kitchen, guided by the aromas emanating from it. And she was right. Fiona was working her magic at the stove. A chicken was roasting in the oven, and a huge pot was bubbling on the stove, already been out for a work. Fiona smiled. Our little princess didn't freeze, did she? No, she slept. Jennifer sat on a small couch and started taking Hope out of her jumpsuit. Fiona, can I have some tea? Of course you can. Just wait 5 minutes. You know, Xavier is really something. He was so worried before your arrival. He prepared everything. Look, he even bought me haze. He called, asking what was needed. Ah, if only Malcolm were like that. Well, I think he'll settle down. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have said that. It's okay. Jennifer smiled. People are all different. Malcolm surely has many good qualities. That's true. But I'd choose Xavier. Fiona shrugged. He's serious. He's just a bit scared of women after what happened. Didn't Malcolm tell you? No, he didn't. Jennifer looked at Fiona in surprise. What happened? Just don't tell anyone. Fiona sat down next to Jennifer and pressed her finger to her lips. I felt sorry for him. It was awful. He was married. Seemed like a decent girl. Also a lawyer. Smart, but a bit arrogant. Margot was capricious. But Xavier loved her deeply, it seemed. They lived together for 2 years and then broke up. She had an abortion. An abortion? Jennifer asked. Yes, Xavier loves children more than anything. And Margot didn't want to ruin her figure. Can you believe it? She said a child would interfere with her career. I'm not one to eavesdrop, but they had really loud arguments. And the worst part, she didn't tell him anything. He found out by accident. Either he found documents from the hospital or something else, and he couldn't forgive her. Oh, that's a sad story, Jennifer sighed. I feel sorry for him. And for Margot too. Why feel sorry for her? She got married again after 6 months and left somewhere. Fiona waved her hand. And here's Xavier, fussing over you. He looks so sad when he looks at Hope. It breaks your heart. I didn't notice. Jennifer hugged the baby closer. Such a sad story. And the kettle just boiled. By the way, Fiona said. And guess what? The master decided to have dinner in the living room today. It's the first time. I'm really happy for you, you know. Maybe Malcolm will forgive him. It would be good. After all, he's still his beloved son. Fiona said, sipping her tea. Jennifer returned to her room. She needed to get ready for dinner. She felt a bit nervous, especially since Malcolm wasn't around. Where could he have gone? Douglas was a smart man. He would notice that they hardly knew each other. For dinner, Jennifer descended wearing the same dress she had on in the morning. She didn't have another option anyway. Douglas, looking just as pale, sat at the head of the table. Jennifer, sit next to me, please. I want to see my granddaughter, he commanded, and Jennifer complied. Xavier settled opposite her, while Malcolm nervously shifted his gaze between his father and brother. He looked like a guilty schoolboy anticipating inevitable punishment. Jennifer felt an urge to comfort him. She gently patted Malcolm's back and smiled. He flinched but returned her smile. Well, that's a start. The conversation was ordinary. Douglas, the host, inquired about the granddaughter's health, then asked about the surgery, and then about the wedding. Jennifer felt like she was being interrogated and dreaded making a mistake. Moreover, Malcolm gave her the right to answer his father, which was somewhat irritating. Fiona served the tea. Douglas leisurely sipped it, observing his sons with a contented look. Oh, "Malcolm, you've made me proud. Found yourself a good, serious girl. Could have told me sooner that you're expecting a child. I feel rejuvenated, like I want to live again. Malcolm, escort me to my room. We'll talk a bit." Douglas's younger son nodded and jumped up from his chair. He helped his father rise, and they slowly made their way towards Douglas's bedroom, leaving Jennifer alone with Xavier. "You did great." He smiled. "Didn't expect you to handle it so well. I just don't want to let anyone down," she replied. "And I'm tired. I want to sleep. Let's go. I'll help with Hope." Xavier also stood up and lifted the bassinet, where the little one was dozing, from the chair. The next morning, Xavier went off to work. Malcolm stopped by Jennifer's room and attempted to have a conversation, but it didn't flow well. He still seemed afraid of Hope, although it was more amusing than anything else. Why do all young fathers behave like this? Well, almost all. There are rare exceptions. Xavier would probably be a very caring father. It's a pity his wife had an abortion without telling him anything. Of course, no one has the right to force a woman to carry a child if she doesn't want to. But still, Jennifer believed that such matters were better discussed with the potential father. Xavier happily took care of the baby, even changing her diapers when he returned from work, and offered to help bathe her. A strange thought crossed Jennifer's mind. After all, any man becomes several times more attractive when holding a baby. "I wonder why." Douglas, as if rejuvenated, requested the table to be set in the living room again. After dinner, Jennifer went to him with Hope and sat with him almost until 10 o'clock in the evening. It seemed like even Douglas's complexion improved. Or was it just Jennifer's imagination? The elderly man talked about himself, his business, how he became wealthy. It turned out he started as a simple engineer at the factory. But in the 90s, he managed to navigate it, borrowed money, bought the right stocks, quickly learned to survive in new conditions. And he succeeded. Achieved everything he dreamed of. "Don't think I was a bandit," the elderly man said with a smile, rocking his granddaughter in his arms. "Everything was fair. Dirty methods are not for me. You know, I've noticed that those who lied fell, and the robbers have long been on the other side," said Douglas. "The other side?" Jennifer asked. "Yeah, as my old friend used to say, they've put on a wooden raincoat and peacefully guard the clay. But the people who acted honestly are still alive and managed to keep everything they had. It seems like there are higher powers watching over us. And they watch." Jennifer, very attentively. "Not forgiving our sins," Douglas said. "Yeah, maybe that's true," Jennifer said. "But I've never really thought about it." Douglas chuckled, and Jennifer realized that Xavier was terribly similar to his father. "Why bother thinking about it? You don't seem like someone who has sinned much." "All right then. Go rest, my dear. I must have tired you out. See you tomorrow. By the way, I want to take a walk in the garden. Haven't done so in a while. You know, when this house was being built, I thought I'd be playing with my grandchildren in the garden. Just a week ago, I was thinking about it. Was sure it wouldn't happen, but it did. Thanks to Malcolm's efforts. And Xavier did a great job too," Jennifer blurted out. And why did she suddenly feel so offended for Xavier? "He's the oldest. He's always had more pressure on him. Or maybe I'm wrong." Douglas sighed. The next month flew by like a single day. Hope was growing up. Douglas was coming back to life. He indeed started going out to the garden, which scared Xavier terribly. But these works seemed to benefit the man, even if they were short. Jennifer felt like she was growing fonder of Douglas by the day. He had a great sense of humor, was intelligent and well-read, and he genuinely adored his granddaughter. But Malcolm still held himself somewhat aloof, although he seemed to understand that his father had forgiven him, even if he didn't talk about it out loud. Xavier appeared satisfied. The only thing that worried Jennifer was that sooner or later, this masquerade would end. How much time did Douglas have left? A couple of months. Jennifer was torn between conflicting feelings. On one hand, she wanted to go home and be alone with Hope. On the other, she liked Douglas. And she also liked Xavier. What she was afraid to admit to herself. Even another month passed. Jennifer managed to take maternity leave from work. It was a bit of a hassle, but Xavier helped her out. He said he wanted Jennifer to spend more time with her father, that she was needed by Hope. He often promised to continue helping her even after the divorce. He asked if Jennifer would allow him to see Hope when all this was over. Jennifer assured Xavier that she wouldn't stand in the way, and she was grateful to him. Jennifer became friends with Fiona. She realized that Fiona had a slight crush on the homeowner. In the evenings, they started lighting up the fireplace. Usually, they sat in front of it, the three of them, Jennifer, Hope, and Douglas. It seemed like Douglas genuinely enjoyed these moments. Sometimes Fiona and Xavier joined them. Malcolm, on the other hand, preferred to stay in his room. One night, Jennifer woke up and couldn't fall back asleep. Hope was peacefully snoozing in her crib. Jennifer approached her daughter and smiled. This was her daughter, her happiness. They would be home soon. Hope woke up, stretched her tiny body, and opened her eyes. "Hello, little one. Did I wake you up?" Jennifer asked. Hope wrinkled her nose amusingly and made a little noise. She probably wanted to eat. Jennifer picked her up from the crib. "Well, let's go. Let's go to the kitchen. We'll have something to eat, and I'll have a cup of tea," she said. Jennifer threw on a robe and headed to the kitchen. She was already familiar with the house, although it still seemed too vast and unwelcoming to her. Jennifer entered the kitchen, turned on the light, and screamed. There was someone sitting at the table. When Jennifer's eyes adjusted to the light, she realized it was Xavier. "Sorry, didn't mean to startle you," he smiled. Midnight snack. In front of him was a plate of cookies and a glass of milk. Jennifer sat down next to him. "No, you didn't scare me." "Why in the dark?" she asked. "Can't sleep. Thoughts swirling around," he admitted. "Would you like to hold her?" "Sure, I'd love to." He took Hope. "Such beautiful eyes she has." "Xavier, do you like children?" Jennifer turned on the kettle. "Yes, I do." He nodded. "I wanted my own." "Fiona told you, didn't she?" "Yes, Fiona," Jennifer confessed. "Sorry about that." "No worries. Fiona likes to chat, but she also does her job well." "Listen, Jennifer, I wanted to ask you." "What about?" She turned to him. The man looked at Jennifer with a pensive, serious expression. "Listen, when will all of this end? What are your plans?" he asked. "I'll move back to my mom's so she can help with Hope." Jennifer shrugged. "I'll keep working. And, of course, raise my daughter, because I just thought." Never mind. It's silly. All of this. What were you thinking?" Jennifer stood the formula and dripped some on her hand. Then she took Hope and gave her the bottle. Xavier couldn't take his eyes off the little girl. "Oh, nothing. Jennifer, sorry. Just some strange thoughts popping into my head. We are practically strangers, after all." "What do you mean?" She tried not to show that his words were making her nervous. "I just thought that I don't want to part with you, Jennifer." "Well, you can spend time with Hope as much as you want. You're still her uncle." Jennifer tried to smile, but her voice trembled. No, I'm not thinking about that." "Goodness, what am I saying?" He gulped down the milk and closed his eyes for a moment. "Just silly thoughts crossing my mind. If I were in Malcolm's shoes." Jennifer froze. "And what? What would you do in Malcolm's shoes?" "It doesn't matter. Good night." Jennifer watched Xavier leave. Suddenly, she felt unbearably melancholic. She felt sorry for him. His father was about to pass away. He had no family. His brother was wayward. And yet, he seemed to be successful in every aspect. Another month passed. Douglas was getting better, and that made Jennifer happy. But she didn't know what to do. She couldn't just leave like that. But she couldn't stay either. And he was already making plans. talking about which daycare Hope would attend, which school she would go to. And it seemed like he intended to take her to her first day of school himself. He simply adored Hope, and Jennifer felt like he might like her too. Sometimes, Jennifer thought it was a pity he wasn't her real father-in-law. It would have been much easier then. The time for the surgery was approaching, and Jennifer was terribly nervous. Douglas found the best clinic and promised to cover all the expenses. Jennifer was sincerely grateful for this, but at the same time, she was burning with shame. Xavier drove Jennifer to the hospital. Malcolm cited urgent matters. Jennifer was beside herself with anxiety. She stayed with Hope. They were placed in a separate room together. Xavier stayed with them for half an hour, then left for work. Jennifer burst into tears as soon as the door closed behind him. The surgery was done the next day. Jennifer called Xavier first, then Malcolm. Malcolm politely congratulated her and hung up. But does he really feel nothing for his own daughter? On the other hand, Xavier came. Jennifer cried on his shoulder for a while, and he patiently stroked her head and said some empty but obligatory words in such situations. A week later, they returned home. Jennifer didn't leave Hope's side for a moment, and Fiona helped her in any way she could. It was clear that the housekeeper also cared about the baby. But Douglas was doing even better. He even went upstairs to spend time with Hope. Jennifer looked at him and thought she should confess to the man. After all, Hope was his granddaughter. Malcolm could solve his problems with his father on his own. Jennifer didn't belong here. She was just a stranger here. 2 weeks after the surgery, Jennifer and Xavier took Hope to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said everything was fine, and the girl wouldn't even have scars on her face. Their mood was excellent. Xavier and Jennifer celebrated this at a cafe, and then headed home. On the way, she decided to talk to him. "Xavier, I can't take it anymore. I'm ashamed," she confessed. "Dad will be upset if he finds out." He looked sadly at Jennifer. "Maybe just a little longer. He's better now. I spoke to the doctor." She turned away and stared out the window. "His condition is unlikely to deteriorate. Let's talk about it tomorrow," Xavier suggested. "You know, I don't want you to leave either. I've got news to having you around." Jennifer smiled, but her eyes squinted for some reason. Yes, she had got news to him too. Used to him coming straight to her after work, to him helping with the baby. Sometimes Jennifer even felt like they were a real family. If only they could really be a family. Have more children he dreams of. Greet him after work. She'll leave. Xavier will drop by occasionally, maybe for Christmas and birthdays. Hope will receive gifts and a little attention from him. Jennifer felt sad. They arrived home. Xavier took the bassinet with the baby. Jennifer suddenly realized that spring had come. She hadn't noticed. Soon the snow would melt completely, and the first flowers would appear. Hope would see them for the first time in her life. They were met by Fiona. "Jennifer, some woman came, demanding to see you first. Then Malcolm. Then went to Douglas. I didn't let her in, but she broke through," Fiona reported. "What woman?" Jennifer asked, alarmed. "I don't know. She was rude. I don't like such people. Pushy." Xavier and Jennifer exchanged glances. "Okay, take Hope," Xavier said. He handed the bassinet to Fiona. "We're going to see Father." Jennifer felt like she was about to faint from anxiety. She suspected who this woman was, and the thought made Jennifer feel sick. Unfortunately, she wasn't mistaken. Penelope had come to Douglas. She sat opposite him in a chair, crossing her legs. She looked beautiful, well-groomed, in a red pantsuit, with light makeup. Douglas looked at Jennifer in such a way that she wanted to disappear, to evaporate. "Well, Jennifer," Penelope asked, "how does it feel to live after you stole someone else's child? You rejected him yourself." Jennifer squeezed out. "You signed all the documents." "I was beside myself with worry." Penelope squinted. "I gave birth to a sick daughter, and you convinced me to sign the refusal to take her, to insert yourself into the family. Is that true?" Douglas asked. "No. No, of course not. I didn't convince Penelope. On the contrary, Jennifer said. For some reason, her vision darkened. You tricked Malcolm into marrying you. Penelope smirked. Xavier, how did you get involved in this? What did you want? Were you afraid that your brother would be disinherited by your father? You had your eyes on it, didn't you? Malcolm is foolish, and you'll be able to explain to him how to manage the money properly. Help him, so to speak. A cunning plan, I must say. I always knew you were a very clever person, Xavier. Why did you come? Xavier asked, stepping between Penelope and Jennifer, as if trying to shield her from danger. What do you want, Penelope? Money. I have money. And the guest's smiles widened even more. I came to take my daughter. I hope you haven't finished all the paperwork yet. Or will we have to go to court? It will be on my side. Ah, you waited for us to perform the operation, didn't you? Xavier shook his head. What if something went wrong? Right. And why would you need a disabled child in that case? But now that it's done, I needed to come to my senses. Penelope interrupted him. Collect my thoughts. Douglas, you are on my side. I hope. I am on the side of the mother, and will always be on the side of the mother. Douglas replied. Penelope nodded triumphantly and rose from the chair. So, Jennifer, did you think everything would work out? Just know, Malcolm loves me. After divorcing you, he will become my husband, and you will give me the daughter. No, Jennifer exclaimed. I can't. She's mine. But is this true? Douglas asked. Xavier, why all this? Father, I wanted you to reconcile with Malcolm. Xavier answered honestly. Admirable. Douglas nodded to Penelope. Thanks for telling me. We'll sort this out. But for now, leave. I need to think. Suddenly, he turned strangely pale and fell to the side. Jennifer rushed to him. There was no pulse. The man wasn't breathing. Call an ambulance. She shouted at Xavier, lifting Douglas's sweater on his chest. Urgently. Do you have adrenaline in your house? Yes, we do. I think Fiona has it. Just in case. I'll call her now. The man replied. Jennifer stayed with Douglas until the ambulance arrived. Luckily, they managed to restart his heart, and the homeowner went to the hospital with Xavier. Fiona kicked Penelope out of the house. Jennifer felt a bit of relief. She sat in the living room, crying uncontrollably. Fiona tried to console her by bringing some herbal tea or offering a shot of vodka. Hope was also crying, and Jennifer, who was crying non-stop herself, couldn't seem to calm the baby down. A panicked Malcolm arrived. It turned out Penelope went to his workplace, and he told her everything. Why? Jennifer moaned. She has the right to know. She's the mother. Malcolm replied without looking Jennifer in the eye. How dumb can you be? Jennifer is the mother. Jennifer. Fiona erupted. She didn't steal her, Malcolm. She legally adopted her, but Penelope gave birth to her. Malcolm replied. And anyway, it was all Xavier's idea. Let him deal with it. That night, Jennifer went home with hope. Maybe they would take her away soon. Most likely, they would. Jennifer didn't know how she would live on. She looked at the baby, trying to memorize her face. She breathed in her scent. She didn't even cry anymore. There was only emptiness. How could she have thought this would work out? How did Jennifer even come up with this idea? After all, miracles don't happen. She lost her first child, and she would lose the second one, whom she had already grown to love. 3 days passed. No one called or texted Jennifer. She mustered up the courage to call Xavier. He said Douglas was fine. They were preparing to move him from the intensive care unit to a regular ward. The doctors say you saved his life, Xavier said. Thank you. The father is grateful. And what should I do now? Jennifer asked quietly. Listen, Jennifer, I'll figure something out. I promise. Xavier replied in a serious tone. A few days later, there was a knock on the door. Jennifer was sure it was Penelope. She had come for her child. Jennifer even considered not opening it, but quickly realized how foolish that would be. However, standing at the threshold was Xavier. "Listen, Father wants us to come," he said, with hope. "Why?" Jennifer asked, looking at him with fear. "Are they going to take her away?" "Jennifer, calm down. No one is going to take her away from you." Unexpectedly, Xavier took a step forward and hugged her. "Don't be afraid. I'm telling you, I won't let it happen." "Jennifer." She burst into tears in his embrace. He stroked her head, then kissed her on the forehead. "Everything will be fine. Calm down." He wiped her tears with his thumbs. "I'm telling you the truth." Jennifer smiled, seemingly for the first time in days, and went to freshen up. For some reason, she didn't feel scared next to Xavier. They reached Douglas's house quickly. The homeowner was already waiting for them in the living room. To Jennifer's surprise, he looked perfectly healthy. She sat on the couch, holding Hope in her arms. Xavier settled down next to her, which made her feel a bit calmer. "You know, I absolutely despise being lied to," started the homeowner, "and I've told you before why we lied. To get you to reconcile with your younger son, right before my death. Is that it?" And Xavier nodded silently. "Well, people do strange and illogical things for love. Jennifer, did you really go along with this so that the girl would become yours?" "Yes, I did." She nodded. "I had no other reasons. I swear." "She didn't know who you were, or who I was," Xavier said to his father. He suddenly placed his hand on Jennifer's shoulder. "Dad, she wasn't interested in money. I'm sure of that. Were you planning to divorce after my death?" "Yes." And Jennifer hung her head. "But I don't wish that for you, really." "It's a funny thing." Douglas smirked. "I actually was planning to die until you showed up. Even the doctors are surprised how it happened. So, I thank you, and even forgive you, Jennifer. But not you, Xavier. Penelope will take Hope." Jennifer blurted out. That was all she cared about, nothing else. Douglas looked at her with a long, piercing gaze. "Do you know how much your daughter is worth?" "What?" "Hope is worth several $1,000,000. At least, to her mother. I paid her the amount she asked for. But for you, Jennifer, I see Hope is priceless." Xavier squeezed Jennifer's hand on her shoulder. Huge tears rolled down her cheeks. "Really? Let's consider it part of Malcolm's inheritance, which he won't get in the future." Douglas shook his head. "You were right, Xavier. I've spoiled him for too long. He said he'd marry this Penelope after the divorce. I think this will be a lesson for him. And don't you be an idiot either. I'm asking you." "All right." "What?" Xavier asked again. "Exactly that, Xavier. Do you think I've become so old and foolish that I can't see obvious things? Jennifer an exceptional woman, Xavier." "I don't understand," Xavier muttered. "Yeah, I thought at least you'd be smart about it," sighed the homeowner. "Let's go eat, fools. Fiona made chicken just the way I like it, with rosemary." 5 years later, Jennifer loved walking in the forest, especially to this clearing. There were some incredible bright yellow flowers growing here. "Mom, look, butterflies!" suddenly shouted Hope and grabbed Jennifer's hand. "Let's catch one and bring it home." "We can't. Butterflies are better off here, in the forest." Jennifer smiled at her daughter. "Because they have little babies too." Hope's eyes lit up with curiosity. "Like you and Daddy?" "Yes, sweetheart." Jennifer sat down next to Hope and adjusted her cap. "Mom, let's pick some flowers and take them to Grandpa. Or make a wreath for little sister." Jennifer stroked her belly. Her second daughter would be born soon. They already came up with a name for her. "Grandpa Douglas will soon go crazy. It seems he's ready to buy everything he can. He adores Hope. Surely, he'll love the younger granddaughter too. He wouldn't spoil her. But what can you do? He's a grandfather, after all." Jennifer was immensely grateful to Douglas. It was he who helped Hope stay with Jennifer. It was he who found the best doctors and paid for treatment. And only thanks to him, Jennifer and Xavier would become parents. Let's give these flowers to Grandpa, honey. Hurry. Collect them. Daddy will be home from work soon. Jennifer smiled at her daughter.